Find us on Facebook, email us at head2headpinball@gmail.com, or go to our website at head2headpinball.com.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the Head2Head Pinball Podcast. This is episode 32 and I'm Martin, and with me...
It's Ryan C. And we've got someone else joining us, Marty.
Do we? Who we got?
Well, globally known for his dulcet tones, this man raced to over 100 podcasts faster than anyone in history by figuring it all out. Just do 15-minute podcasts, baby. And that's what he's all about. Ranked in the top 100 players in the world, but still unsure about his skills. He's Josh Sharp's personal bully, and he's here today to bully me. The only guy from Canada who isn't overly nice. The one, the only, Jeff Teolis.
How the fuck did you get my number?
What time is it there, Jeff? Did we ring you at a bad hour?
6 in the morning on a Sunday. All right. I usually don't get up until the crack of noon.
Well, I was up at 5 o'clock Sunday morning our time, so, you know, I feel it's okay for somebody else to suffer for pinball.
Yeah, trying to get Pinburg, wasn't that a lot of fun, too? Well, I think I've been duped. My agent told me I was going to be on the top podcast in Australia. So I thought, oh, great. Dr. John and Emily are going to be giving me a call. And then I thought maybe Pinheads is coming back. And no, I'm here with Martin and Ryan. Although I'm a big fan. Martin, you know, we saw each other at Indisc. I think you're great. I think no one can hold their booze and broadcast with you since Ron Burgundy. And Ryan, I just love how you don't let your speech impediment get away from being in front of the microphone. You still go at it, and God bless you for that.
That's so true. Jeff, tell us about yourself. How did you get started in this hobby, and who are you? Why are you on this show?
Wow, that's a deep question. A lot of research put into that one, Ryan. Well done. From the generic bank of how did you get into pinball? Wow, that's... Let me think about that. Well, I was a poor child, and my parents used to ship me off to the arcade, and if I didn't come back with some gambling money, I wouldn't eat for a week. So does that make you feel good? That's how it all started for me. So who gives a shit? Really? I mean, we saw a pinball machine. We liked it. I've heard your stories of how you guys got into pinball, and Martin with the disco fever and the banana flippers.
I didn't choose what machine was there. That was just there.
That got you into pinball? I would run for the hills if I saw that machine and those flippers, although I do like disco music a lot. It's something people don't know about me. And then Ryan, my favorite thing about Ryan is how he got into pinball, something to do with his dad, and he saw the Strikes and Spares backlash. Now, this is a cartoon figure that he went from 6 to midnight on every time he had a look at this thing. And he got a chubby looking at that. I mean, what did you do when you saw the Flintstones backlash? Did you, oh, Wilma. Oh, boy. I mean, for God's sakes, you're in Australia. I mean, that's not how I'm getting my first wood. It's Elle Macpherson or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Margot Robbie nowadays. Give me a break. Strikes and Spares. I can't look at the game now.
Neither can Ryan.
Is that what you think of a little? Little 6-year-old Ryan getting the chub. All right, so we're skipping that story. So what do you do now in pinball?
Well, I saw a machine. I liked it. It was fun. It cost me less to play that than a video game, and pinball's fun. I like it because of baseball and drumming and timing, and still love it to this day. There, in a nutshell.
Done.
That's the pinball profile version, right? Like you speed it up, you get it done, so you can get in, get out.
This whole podcast is going to last 15 minutes, Jeff. Come on, keep it going.
Backstory, man. Come on. You could at least come up with something.
Yeah, it's only been done on every other podcast. But for the Australians who haven't heard, I did go to a bowling alley as a kid, and I saw a machine I liked. And really, that is it. You saw a machine you liked. It was Black Knight. It was Gorgar. Those kind of games. It's and just wow, this is a lot of fun. And I kind of wanted to do better. Video games Space Invaders, kind of boring and stuff after a while. Pac-Man, if you knew the patterns, it was boring. So pinball was always different. That's it in a nutshell. And I've loved it ever since. And the funny thing about it, though, is I was away from pinball from probably mid to late 90s until 2014. So easily 10 plus years, maybe even 15 years. And then someone said they had a pinball league. I joined it and have been hooked ever since. That's 4 years ago.
So what have you got in your collection? And don't say that's a boring question, because
holy shit,
people want to know. People want to know.
All right. I have AC/DC Pro. I have Fishtails. I have The Simpsons Pinball Party and World Poker Tour. Those 2 games I got from our friend Bruce Nightingale. And what else do I have? I threw out Strikes and Spares once I heard what you did. No, I never did that. I have Joker Poker and 8 Ball and Flight 2000, and I've had a few come in and come out, but 8's kind of the number I can max out at my place.
What's so AC/DC was your first and only new in-box pin, is that right?
That is correct. Yeah, although I'm
so
going to get one too.
Yeah, why AC/DC over anything else that was out at the time, and why haven't you bought a new machine since?
See, that's a good question. That's a little deeper. Well done, Ryan.
I need to learn about you, Jeff. We need to learn about you, Jeff, so we can ask the good questions.
Why that? So again, this is going back to 2014. The first game I ever bought was Lethal Weapon 3, and a buddy of mine got it. I got it really cheap. It was fun, but pinball machines multiply, right? So you got to get another one. I thought it was right before Christmas. I thought I'm going to give myself a Christmas gift, and my wife, who thought we were only going to have one machine, I thought, okay, how do I bring in a second one? My wife is a huge Rolling Stones fan. So I said to her, I dodged a bullet here. I said, honey, why don't I get a Rolling Stones machine? That stupid Mick on the stick.
Yeah.
And she said, thank God. She goes, well, do you like that game? And I went, it's not my favorite, but, I thought you might like it. She goes, no, I'll get one you like. I said, well, there's an AC/DC one. So luckily I switched at the last second there and got that one. That's that. And then,
why are you out of, has no machine since piqued your interest, or you just kind of full now because of all the other pinball machines and
Well, because I play in a lot of leagues and a lot of tournaments, I see a lot of the newer games all the time. That doesn't mean I don't love them. I mean, I'd love to have something like Metallica, or what else? I'm actually really a big fan of Aerosmith. Dialed In is spectacular, and I love TNA, as you just, we're going to talk about that later, but those games are great. I see a lot of the newer games, so that's the biggest reason. And the other reason, too, is I really do like some of the older games. I love that 90s era and things from before that, too. So I like to have a variety.
So you obviously you do a podcast now, right? So you do Pinball Profile, and I'm curious to know why you started that podcast. Because with us, we started it because we're funny, we're intelligent, and we have a lot of interesting things to say. So what did you have that was different?
Red hair, Canadian. Those were 2 things that there was a void on right now. Do you know what it was? Was the radio show I do, which is actually on air in minutes from now. I talk a lot to the rock stars and stuff because I'd rather talk to them than hear my own voice. I'd rather hear what they have to say than what I have to say. And they're fascinating, good stories. You've grown up listening to music. So that's kind of what I've been doing for many years in radio. And I've obviously fallen in love with pinball. And the biggest reason I did it is because before I was in pinball in 2014, I was really into poker a lot, still love poker a lot. And what poker did that was brilliant when they put it on television was the game itself stinks, right? It's very, very boring, but they got you to know the personalities. Daniel Negreanu, another Canadian, Kid Poker, the Magician, and Phil Hellmuth, and all these people. And you got to know the characters of that. And I thought, well, there's some neat people in pinball, too, from just my short time being in this. Nobody's really talking about the people, and I wanted to talk more about the people in pinball, and not just necessarily pinball stories, but other little sidebars of things of interest of those people. And that's kind of what I've done. And I never, ever heard a pinball podcast before I did my first one. I knew about a few of them, just never heard of them. So I didn't know what I was doing. So the first one I did was 10, 15 minutes. I thought, oh, that's pretty good. I nailed that. And then I see all these podcasts. I'm like, oh shit, like hour long. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And that's good enough. And do some recaps like we did at Indisc. And it's been a lot of fun to really get to know people all across the globe.
And so you've actually had a couple of rock stars or even, retired rock stars on your show. How'd that go for you?
Well, for me, I thought it was of interest whether you like the person or not. And I know that, let's be honest, not everyone likes everything. What did Bruce once say? Can't please anybody. Didn't he say that one episode? You can't please anyone. Well, you can't please everyone is what I think he meant to say, but I think I saw that there was a Nugent game. I saw that there was the Kiss games, and I thought, well, I can get access to these people. Maybe I can get a little bit out of them and talk a little bit about a pinball. But they wanted to talk about whatever their agenda was. So, I got a little piece of that, and I've got some more coming too. And again, it's the wide spectrum, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be a superstar. It doesn't have to be the best player in the world. It can be someone who's organizing a charity event. It can be anything. So
you had Martin on, so the bar is pretty low, right?
Oh, Ryan.
Oh, sorry, we're missing back.
It's not that low, Ryan. You haven't been on.
Who's the most famous person that you've interviewed outside of the show for your normal radio show? Gene Simmons would be up there, right?
I'm a big Who fan, so I've been fortunate enough to talk to Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend. I like, and it's so funny that pinball players can't stand the song Pinball Wizard. I freaking love the song.
Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah. So those were big ones. I really respect Ray Davies of the Kinks. He was fascinating, and I've had a few. I mean, I don't want to drop a bunch of names, but I've been very, very fortunate to talk to quite a few of them. And not just rock stars. I love baseball too, so I cover a lot of baseball, and that's actually to the question Martin asked earlier, the good question Martin asked earlier, not the simple generic ones that Ryan throws out there. But I was at the 2016 World Series in Chicago and in Cleveland. So when I was in Chicago, went to Stern, got a little tour there, and there was Steve Ritchie, and at the time John Trudeau, and I was able to talk to both those guys. I thought, this is how Pinball Profile is going to start. Pulled out my phone, started recording, had nothing written down, just off the top of my head, asked a few questions, and that turned into Pinball Profile. I thought, okay. And I knew some of the other people. I think I got Steve Bowden on, who you've had from Fun with Bonus. I asked if he could come on. He did. Bowen Cairns came on, and a few others. And I thought that kind of really helped. It gave a little bit of credit because those were people you knew. No one knew who Jeff Teolis was, or maybe still don't, but they knew those people. So that might have tweaked some interest, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
We'll make you famous, Jeff. Don't worry.
But I obviously I spoke to you at Indisc, and we've spoken since, and we do genuinely really like your show. It's on our list of podcasts that we listen to. I just want to take back, if you don't mind. You sort of talked about the World Series of Poker and how you got into the personalities, and people have often talked about how we can get pinball into the general public via a TV show, and people have talked about bringing some of the personalities out and focusing on that. Do you think that there is the possibility of ever getting pinball into that sort of TV format?
The best way to do it is maybe the Heads Up Championship, because pinball is a game. It's not like darts. When you watch, which blows me away, watching the Europeans play darts, and they're hitting the 180s, and they're doing it in front of a stadium of people. I don't think pinball is going to get to that, because in darts, the better you are, the quicker the game. In pinball, the better you are, the longer the game, which doesn't really make for good television. So the Heads Up Challenge is very interesting because that's a speed race. So that might be the way to do it. And I think I don't know if that's really the idea of what Josh had in mind. I doubt it. He's a simple guy. But I do think that's probably the best way to maybe make that a little more mainstream on TV. And also too, in North America, they've kind of increased the prize pool a little bit too, with everyone entering $1 for every tournament they're in. It builds a bigger prize pool, and that might, get a little more press when you say you're playing for the state or provincial championship, like in Ontario province, by the way.
Oh, in California.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez. No, but these pools are going to be bigger, and then the nationals are going to be bigger, so that might draw a little more attention. I mean, look at Pinburg, right? What is there, $150,000 in prize money they give away? That's pretty big. That gets a lot of press. So if you can do that at the state and provincial level, that might get a little more hype. Although I don't know if pinball needs a little more hype. My goodness, look at how fast that Pinburg sold out.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
And we'll get to Pinburg in a second, but talk about prize money. We know that you've been recently on The Price is Right, and I know you can't. Well, you're in the audience, and you can't talk about if you're on the show yet because it hasn't aired. But a little birdie told me that you've been on Jerry Springer. So can you tell us about your experience on Jerry Springer way back when you were a young lad?
It was in May of 1999. I remember it very, very well. I was in Chicago when they used to film that show in Chicago. And there was all this hype about you got to get the Jerry Springer show off the air because of all the violence and all the crazy things that happened. And so I guess there were some senators that really wanted Springer to say, hey, you have to either admit that it's fake and get an entertainment license to continue, or start arresting people because they're fighting, and fighting is illegal. So Springer didn't want to do either of those things, didn't want to admit it was fake, and didn't want to arrest people. So eventually he took his shop and went elsewhere. I think it was Connecticut or wherever the heck he filmed his show. So I was at one of the very last shows ever in Chicago, and it was kind of a pay-per-view event. They used to do a lot of those. So,
no, those are the best.
So they are the best, right? You're going to see, the tops are going to come off, the fists are going to come out. It's going to be a lot of fun, right? So anyway, a buddy of mine knew the producer of the show. I'm in Canada, right? So in Canada, we can go to Cuba. So Cuban cigars are very, very popular. So this producer loved Cuban cigars, and he would give them to the Jerry Springer producer. And he said, hey, if you ever want to come on the show, we'll set you up. So he set me up. Third row. I'm every other question Jerry's asking, I'm right beside him. And I'm wearing a Williams pinball shirt, funny enough, too. And anyway, so every other question Jerry's asking. So the first group that comes out, there was 5 different segments. I'll just tell you about a couple of them. The first group that came out was this African-American woman that came out, and she said, this was her story, she wanted to join the KKK. So, that's how absurd the Jerry Springer show is, right? So
was it like the that Dave Chappelle episode where she was also blind and didn't realize she was African American?
No. She just gave her reasons, and then they brought out 2 hooded a-holes from the KKK, or at least actors in KKK hoods, and said, yeah, we've, I don't remember if they came out with like a noose. Like, it was just horrible. It was like everything over the top, crazy. And they said, yeah, we've got some clerical work for her, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's find out what her boyfriend has to say. And this guy was bigger than the CGI Incredible Hulk. This guy, if you put your 2 fists on, I know you're a big tricep guy, and you get really excited about that, Ryan. But if you put this guy's 2 fists on top of each other, if you put your own 2 fists together, that's how his one fist was bigger than that. This guy was the Hulk. He came out and said, "What are you doing?" And the KKK guy said, "Well, she's seen the light." And he says, "You're going to see the light, motherfucker." And he dropped the guy. He punched the hood, and I think he meant to miss. He didn't miss. The guy was dead inside that cloth. The other guy runs through the crowd, but he doesn't run up the aisles. He runs through the seats, which are just kind of, fold up chairs that are put there. So it kind of wrecks the aisles. So KKK guys flies through past me. Jerry's right beside me. The Incredible Hulk is coming at us. And I do what I think any good citizen would do. I gave myself up, and I threw myself on Jerry Springer to save. Like, don't take Jerry, take me. I'll protect you, Jerry. So I gave him this big bear hug, like I was hugging a grenade or something like that. And of course, everything was fine. I dusted off Jerry. I'm like, you're okay, man, you're okay. Forget that segment. They wipe it all out. Next segment comes out, and it's this guy who looks like some kind of Satanist or skinny, creepy, greasy looking guy. And he said, I got to confess something to my girlfriend. They bring her out, and this is 1999, so she looked like Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again video, little schoolgirl thing. Cute kid or whatever came out. Kid, she was adult. Anyway, she came out. Oh, what's going on, honey? And he said, well, I got to confess, I've been cheating on you. She starts crying. Well, who is it? I'll go get her. Goes backstage, comes back out with a 3-foot stuffed panda bear.
I miss Jerry Springer. This is making me feel like watching it.
I've seen this episode. I swear to you, it's fuzzy philia. That's what they call it.
There's a thing for that? Yeah. I've heard of the brony thing, but I've never heard of that. I don't want to know about that. I don't want that in my head.
It was on this episode of Jerry Springer. I saw this episode.
Oh God! Well, they've done it twice actually. I have seen it in another one too. So anyway, he starts dry humping. I'm sorry for everyone listening. Starts dry humping the panda. She beats the stuffing out of him. Beats the stuffing out of the panda. End of segment. All right. Now this is all in awe. So the 5th segment. I'm fast forwarding. Sorry, this is a long story, but it's funny. The 5th segment comes out, and it's the episode was called transvestites in peril or something like that. So it was men dressed as women, and they obviously had the same kind of thing. We're in love with the same person, so they would fight, but they didn't fight like the Incredible Hulk popping the KKK guy. They would just, instead of fighting, they would grab the wigs and throw the wigs away, which was devastating. Like, how dare you expose? So the one throws the wig right by Jerry and I grab my hair and I go, Jerry. And I grab my hair and check to see if my wig's still on. I'm not wearing a wig, but it was a joke. So Jerry then gets on camera and goes, hold on a second here. And he starts adjusting his head. I'm like, you son of a bitch. You just stole my joke.
Stole your idea.
You stole my joke. So now they get everybody back on the end of the stage or whatever. And it's question time. I've got my hand up like Arnold Horseshack in Welcome Back, Kotter. Ooh, ooh, pick me. He's way at the back. I'm like, fuck. Come on, Jerry, man. I've saved your life. Yeah. I've given you jokes. Ratings are through the roof. A little me time. He finally, last question, throws me the mic. I want that panda guy, right? So I'm like, yeah, I want to talk to that Lee Harvey Oswald lookalike. And the Americans love that. Eh? Oh, well done. They don't know I'm Canadian. Anyway, so I said, look, buddy, the problem is not that you're with a panda. I just don't think you can satisfy it. Maybe you should go to a teeny weeny beanie baby. Oh, everyone. He gives me the finger. I give him the finger. I'm like, come on, let's go. I saw some fights and I thought it's either fake or if I had to fight, I probably could beat this nerd. So what the hell, right? 22 million people watching. Let's go. So that was my Springer show. And sorry to ruin everything about pinball on this podcast.
Did Steve? So what happened? Did Steve? You can't stop the story there. Did Steve hold you back? And what was the deal?
Oh no! They cut the commercial and everyone's high fiving me. They go right back. Everyone's high fiving me like, oh yeah, you want to take them on.
So Jeff Teolis saves Jerry Springer, the cultural sodomite, literally sets society back to the dark ages. Thank you very much, Jeff Teolis. You've literally dumbed down the whole natural selection progress of the Earth by saving Jerry Springer. But it was a good
sorry. This is coming from an Australian. Hold on a second here. Where your school classes consist of how to serve your community service, how to pick locks, how to break into cars. Give me a break.
Oh, that is absolutely wrong. We learnt that before we got to school.
That's kindergarten.
All right.
Shall we get to the show, Marty and Jeff?
Please, for crying out loud.
All right. So I can't be bothered going down the list of things we're going to talk about. But a couple of corrections from last week. So I mistakenly said that the ACDC code corrected the super jackpot in multi-balls, not adding to the score. It was adding to the score. It's just that the display total of the multi-ball after it was finished didn't include any super jackpots. So that was a mistake on my part, not reading the changelog correctly. And we talked about Guardians, that the shot would be 5x if you finish a mode. It's just that one shot. It's not the entire playfield. It's just the one shot that corresponds to the mode, which I think Marty said correctly, but I didn't understand it properly. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk probably about the biggest news that's happened in the last 24 hours. So this is Pinburg. I mean, people talk about pinball tournaments, don't they?
No, no one likes to talk about it.
No one likes to talk about it. So Pinburg went on sale, and it was, I think it was like midday Eastern Standard Time, which was 4 a.m. Melbourne time. And
for those that don't know what Pinburg is, just quickly, it's the biggest pinball tournament in the world. Last year it was 800 people. This year it's 840 people. Last year it sold out within 15 minutes or so. Is that correct?
Yeah. Sorry. Hold on a second here. You think somebody listening to a podcast has no idea what Pinburg is? I realize there are collectors that are listening too, but
no,
you don't think
100%. When
Really?
the first year of me listening to podcasts, I still didn't understand. I still don't even know what a league is. What is a league?
All right, I stand corrected.
Okay.
yeah, and this is the
People don't
whole
know.
point of Head2Head. So we're trying to bridge the gap between, I think, those people that play comps and those people that have collections and don't. And, this stuff is new for people. Pinburg, this is the first time we're reporting on it, so hopefully people will want to know what it is. But yeah, it is. It's in Pittsburgh, and it is massive. And you've been to it before, Jeff?
This year will be my 4th year. I've enjoyed it. It's so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So it did go on sale, and as Ryan said, I think last year it sold out in 15 minutes. How long do you think it sold out this time?
30 to 40 seconds.
Well, the first reports were 47 seconds. So this is how it went for me. I stayed up. I was so paranoid that I was going to fall asleep and not wake up. So I stayed up and I watched lots of crappy YouTube clips, and I finally got there. I had a countdown, the timer. I was like, right, ready to go. The time when I refreshed the page. And how it is, it's kind of like, if you go to any of your entertainment sites where you're buying tickets, where they've got, the timing and a bit of detail about the event. But when I hit refresh, and it then had it had 15, 20 different ticket options. You could do single days, you could do this event, that event, children's had different buttons. And so I clicked my button for the whole event, went to cart. And when I went to cart, I realised that I had actually chosen the wrong thing. So I had actually chosen the Pinburg event, not the tournament. So,
Which never sells out. Brilliant.
Right.
Well done.
Yep, great. So I realised that when, clear my cart, add the ticket, sold out. 40 seconds later, it was completely sold out. And I honestly was literally beside myself. And so you can only imagine the very first thing that I would do. I reached out to Jeff Teolis and I said, Jeff.
You did? Yeah, that's right.
I did. I said, Jeff, what the fuck? This thing is sold out. How is this even possible?
Well, I guess the way it goes is once you get in the queue, you've got 15 minutes to enter your credit card information and finish your sale. So I guess what happened to a few people, 15 minutes after, they went on sale, which was noon Eastern time, they, some of the people, maybe their credit card information was wrong or declined, or maybe they decided to get out of or check out or whatever. So some of those tickets went on sale. And I can't remember when you got your tickets. Was it about that 15-minute mark?
Yeah, it would have been for sure. It was 21 minutes after, because I would keep refreshing the page. So thank you to you and also Bruce Nightingale, who also said just keep refreshing, and so I did. And occasionally I'd refresh, and where that section said sold out, all of a sudden there'd be the pull down button where you can go, select 1 to 5 tickets. By the time I pulled the drop down, hit 1, and then add to cart, sold out again. So,
oh boy!
So that's how.
So you just signed up for cosplay and the arcade and.
No. So what I actually did, when I went to add the ticket to my cart, and it came up with an error saying unable to because it sold out, I just kept hitting refresh at that moment. So it was trying to automatically add that ticket to my card.
Okay.
So,
oh boy.
Yep.
So 21 minutes into it, I got my ticket.
You cheated the system. Figured out the loophole.
I did. I couldn't give a crap. I got my freaking ticket, and I was sitting there. I was kicking myself, going, how could I have been so stupid picking the wrong bloody thing? But, you know, in my defence, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't had much sleep. I'd potentially drunk a bit. And when
Shocker!
I know, what a surprise there. And then when I all these things were there, and I was thinking, oh my God, is this thing going to sell out? I just quickly picked something that said whole event, but I was an idiot. But good news is that I now have my ticket, and yeah, bitches, going to Pinburg.
Oh, that's good. I'm so glad. That'll be
Jeff,
fun.
You got it pretty easy. Jeff,
I don't know about easy.
I'm guessing you had the little VIP, just 15 minutes before pre-sale.
No, and I did have I was at League last night, and I had a couple people saying, I didn't get in. Can you help me out? I'm like, help you out? How can I do that? I mean, there's no chance. Oh, people. I'm like, not going to happen. Doesn't help me, and it's not going to help you. So I just got lucky. My computer, funny enough, is 5 minutes faster. So I'm panicking at noon my time. I'm like, come on, what's going on? What's going on? I look at my phone. I'm like, that's probably more accurate. My computer's fast. So I settled down, but I did. You basically had to press refresh every 2-3 seconds, and it came up and because I have done it before, I knew which passes. I remember how confusing it was the first year. Yeah, I think I did the same thing you did, Martin. It just didn't sell out that quickly, or I picked the wrong thing. And someone told me, no, you got to buy the tournament ticket, not I bought the 4-day pass. I'm like, oh, I'm set. Nope, you got to buy the tournament ticket. So that's, you're not the only one. And you know what? You couldn't even read it. Like if you stopped to read it before you checked out, you would have been bumped out.
Yep. It's exactly right. So.
Is it true that you can go on the waiting list before it officially sells out, because there's still people that haven't finished the checkout process? Was one of the options waiting list from the get-go?
No. Yeah, and I did that. I did, and both Bruce and Jeff did send me the link to the wait list. And so I did put my name on the wait list thinking, that's it, I'm done, it's over. And I was honestly just ready to just go to bed. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to sit here for another 5 minutes and just keep refreshing. So I'm so freaking glad I did.
Yeah, no kidding. Good stuff.
Yeah. So it's not like other, events and concerts where, someone can buy 15 tickets and then resell them. These are locked to an individual person. I'm guessing you don't need an IFPA number or anything. You just kind of need your name. No one can resell.
Yeah, they take blood and urine samples, and it's serious. I mean, I offer it. I don't know if they need it, but here you go. I think I was going to say, Ryan, for you who haven't been there, and I know you're not a big competition guy, but this is one of those great competitions. I'm excited to play something like a Flipper Frenzy because you're always playing. The big complaint about people in tournaments, especially the pump and dumps, are like you're sitting and you're waiting and you're waiting. That's not the case at Pinburg. You're playing and playing and playing 10 hours for 2 consecutive days. It's great.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's not something that's super duper high on my list to travel halfway around the world to do at the moment. But never say never. If I keep on kind of going and pursuing tournaments, then maybe next year or maybe in a couple of years I'll be interested in doing it. But
a lot of good triceps there.
It's.
I mean, you totally like it, right? You really would.
I had a couple of 15 or so people in my house today, and just after a couple of hours, it kind of, I'm sorry to say this, but it kind of stunk. So I can't imagine 840 people in the same room together.
They have high ceilings. It's okay. Kind of wafts up.
Do they have extracting fans like the one above your stove to just lift the stench up in the air and evaporate?
By the way, that's a big competition move, and it's called crop dusting. So if you're losing in a pinball tournament, or someone, you just drained your ball and you drop a bomb right before you leave, and the next person's got to eat that. That's a good strategy. Okay. A lot of people don't do it, they don't. I'm surprised there's no tutorial on it. Drop your lunch? No, just lift a little leg and release a little air biscuit. You know what I mean? I think let's call it thought.
Yeah. So obviously, I've seen on social media today a lot of people didn't get in, and obviously they're on the wait list. I think a couple of things that people were saying about it. One was that you could, this year for the first time, you could actually purchase up to 5 tickets. Now, obviously, that's obviously if you're going to have like a family group. and maybe that you're buying a ticket for somebody that's not available on that day to buy the tickets. Do you think that was part of the problem, allowing that many people to put 5 tickets in the cart?
It would definitely make things go faster. I know I bought 2 tickets, one for myself and one for my son Carson. But and Colin McAlpine, last year's winner, I think bought 4 tickets. His 3 kids are going to be playing as well. So that certainly is going to obviously make it go quicker. But if you think about it the other way, if I wanted to buy 2 tickets or Colin wanted to buy 4, and you have to go back and back and back, you're only getting 1.
Yeah,
the way this would work.
Yeah.
So,
what's is there any penalty in cancelling immediately? Like if a day after you cancel, is that allowed?
I don't know the specifics. There are 2 things. Bowen put out a thing that it's you get 75% of your money back. So I think it was a 120 American, so you'd get 90 back. If you do it before whatever such date, then it goes to 50%, then 25, and then you don't get your money back at a certain date. But
so I was thinking, I mean, yeah.
There is an insurance policy on there too. So I think I'm not sure how that worked.
I remember when Dave Chappelle was coming to Australia, the tickets sold out immediately. Like there was no opportunity. And then he released a second thing, and I had 5 friends going with me, and I said, let's all go at the same time. And if we get the tickets, we do. If we don't, we don't. And if we get more than we need, then we'll just refund and resell. And all 5 of us got 5 tickets each. So we had 25 tickets to go to see Dave Chappelle. And I'm sure because this is sold out so quickly, in the future, people, as long as there's no penalty for kind of cancelling straight away, people might start doing things like that. Like a group of 5 all say, hey, let's buy 5 tickets for everyone, and just let's all be in a group chat. And that might be a good way to do it in the future. Obviously a lot messier, but I guess people thought it wouldn't sell out in a minute compared to 15 minutes last year, right?
Oh, no, so you actually had you had Doug Polka on your Pinball Profile podcast today. And look, obviously what people have been saying to him is, you could sell 1,000 tickets, you could sell 1,200 tickets, you could sell 1,500 tickets. What did he say to that?
Sure, they could sell that. The problem is, the most important thing about Pinburg is the quality of the tournament, not so much the quantity of players, which has grown every year. And the reason it's such a great tournament, it's well run, it's well timed. You don't have to wait around, and everybody knows kind of the set schedule. When they say they're going to start at a certain time, they do each round. And that's really, really important too. Plus also, think how big this tournament is. It's held in a massive convention center, and they have so many techs and so many tournament directors. So the bigger the pool of players, the more techs and more TDs you need. And that's probably the hardest part. Not so much the machines, not getting the players, it's getting the techs and the TDs, and up to a certain standard that, Pinburg certainly has had over the last few years. So I think that's the biggest reason. And they'll grow a little bit, and maybe they'll have a bigger growth next year. But again, it's about the TDs and techs. Think of all those Pittsburgh people that volunteer their time. That this tournament doesn't happen without those people. And kudos to them, because, really, they don't get to play in the most fun tournament because they're helping so many people around the world play in this fantastic event.
Yeah, and so that's what I heard. He said that this year they're bringing in new tournament directors and new techs. And so you don't want to try them out when you're expanding significantly. Try them out when you've got a slight expansion, get everybody comfortable, and then that allows expansion next year.
Yep, I think it's going to be great. You're going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to it.
Ryan would hate it.
No,
he'd be bored, wouldn't you?
Fell asleep.
He likes new pinball machine releases.
Yeah, that's good. You know what, Ryan? They have a rule: you're not allowed to wear a ball cap there either. So you would definitely not like it. Hey, Martin, have you ever seen without a ball cap?
Keith Allen gets to wear it anyway. So.
Keith's gone without hats too. I've seen. Look at some of the old footage. He's won many a championship without a hat. I have never seen a picture of Ryan without a lid. It's the girl from the Thompson twins took her hat off more than you did, and that huge beak. And I'm waiting to see Ryan without the beak. Are you like? We go into restaurants and stuff. Do you wear your hat there?
This is the reason why, Jeff. Okay, I'm growing out my hair. Okay, and
because you're in a rock band, why are you growing it out?
I want to try it. I grew like a crazy, insane beard before. I work for myself, so I can do whatever I want to my looks, and I don't care how people judge me because I don't have to impress anyone except myself, right? So I've got long hair. It's freaking crazy if I don't wear a cap, and if I put product in it to style it and make it look good, it needs so much of it to calm it down. Like Carrot Top, he needs a bit of work there. I can't. Jeff Teolis' Skype avatar is Carrot Top. And every time he talks, I see this ginger guy. It's horrible. I don't want to look at him, but I can't get rid of it.
I've only been on Skype a little bit, so I had to pick a picture. I thought, Carrot Top will do.
Anyway, so I don't want to use product in my hair all the time, so I just put a cap on and I go out. I don't wear it to restaurants and things like that, but at pinball events, I don't give a shit. I'm the best looking guy there. I can wear a cap.
But has it expanded to you? Like, you know what? I don't have to do my hair. I don't have to shower now. What the hell?
Yeah.
You're complaining about everyone's thinking at your
slippery
place.
slope.
Exactly.
All right. I'll do my hair for you, Jeff, when I see you, okay?
When you got married to Chantel, were you wearing a ball cap then?
Chanel, not Chantel. You can't just put a T in someone's...
Excuse me. It's 6 a.m. here. I know it's Chanel. I just screwed up. Sorry. Your lovely wife. Were you wearing a ball cap when you married Chanel?
No, this is just something... It's pretty much since I met Martin, I haven't cut my hair.
That's what I want to see. That's on your streams, your Melbourne streams.
He also
I want to see some sort of veiling.
He also knows how judgmental I am, so he's not going to wear that thing whilst he's growing it. So,
thank you, Martin.
Yeah, you're welcome. Service.
Okay, what were we talking about? Can we teach Jeff Teolis some slang?
Yes. So
slang.
It's now time for the Mega Aussie Slang Test. All basic Australian terms explained. Are you ready to learn all about some Aussie terms? Now, we have spoken, I believe, during the weekend, and you've sort of said that you feel that, because you're also another, you're a colony, admittedly probably not a penal colony, but still a colony of...
still working on it.
Yeah, still working on it. So you said, hey, I got this because we speak the same language. We don't, but you reckon you've got this. What do you think?
Some of the words, like, I remember when Bruce was shocked what root meant. I'm like, it means the same thing here too. And when you did it with Bruce and Ron, I think I got every one of them. Now, Jack's were a lot easier, but I don't think I'll get them all. But if you give it to me in a sentence, I might.
Okay, well,
all right, go ahead. I'm good.
Let's start with one. How about clacker?
I think I know what it means, but in a sentence.
Shove this up your clacker.
Ass?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
There you go. Why would you call that a caca?
All right.
A clacker?
Hold on a second. Wait. What do you call the thing in the front?
Why is it called a clacker, mate? We haven't researched the origins, but I'm guessing if it's big when you walk, it clacks together.
God. Oh,
okay.
I got up Sunday morning for this. All right, here we go.
Well, there's also another word for it, and that is freckle.
I have several freckles. Is that a bad thing? What do we mean freckle?
So you got several asses.
Oh, good. All right. Do you want to know what my nickname was in high school? And this is embarrassing. Boy, why am I saying this on a podcast? My nickname was Bubblegum Ass because every time I walked, I got a big butt, right? So every time I walk, my buddies would say, "Your ass looks like it's chewing gum."
Two things. First of all, kids are very, very unkind, and second of all, your ass is fine. I saw it.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you. Yeah. Oh boy.
Jeff?
Yeah.
What does bodgy mean?
Bodgy?
Bodgy.
Can I hear it in a sentence, or is that allowed?
I went to my mechanic, but he's done a bodgy job, mate.
He did a budgie job?
Bodgy.
Bodgy job. Bodgy.
Terrible. Crappy.
Yeah, of inferior quality.
Yeah. Piece of cake.
Do you guys use that?
No. No, we don't.
You're cheating because you're making us use it all in a sentence. You can't understand anything in a sentence.
Okay. Well,
all right.
But I'm just saying, no, these words you use all the time, like these are really common.
Yeah.
Like I know you say.
Yeah. It's too. 100%.
Okay, go ahead. More?
What about Franger?
Fanger or Franger?
Franger. Franger. Franger.
Frank. I don't think I know that. I mean, a sentence will help. I don't know that. I've never heard Franger.
Okay. You coming over tonight for a special night with me? Hope you got a Franger with you.
Oh, no.
Hope you got a Franger. I hope you're coming over for a special night with a Franger.
It's a special type of gin, obviously.
Well, that's it's not a liquid. That's what I was. No, I don't know. You got me. You got me.
There you go.
It's
Yes.
the soft liquid.
What is it?
It's a condom.
A Franger is a condom. You don't use the word rubber.
No. We use Franger.
Franger. All right, Franger.
Just,
All right.
just to let it out there, I've never used that word. Bingle.
Bingle.
Yeah, I was late today. I was in a bit of a bingle.
Fight.
Nope. And this is definitely a real word because there's a company named after it now.
I was late for work. I got into a bingle.
Yeah. It's a
Traffic jam?
It's a motor vehicle accident.
I was close. I said traffic jam.
Yeah, you got close.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same.
It's
All right,
not. Because
fine.
if you got into a traffic jam, you wouldn't actually say I had a bingle. You'd say I got stuck in traffic. Pretty much.
Couldn't get this damn Franger off, and I was late to work. Now,
I have
for
to
those
take
who
this
use,
Franger
for
out of
those
my
who use the
pocket.
Frangers, do you wear two, and then when you have sex, you take one off? You feel like a wild man? Great Dennis Miller joke from years ago.
Okay, that's an awesome joke for 3 people that will get that. So,
You can kill it. Edit.
and so did you manage to crack a fat?
I don't want to think of that.
Oh, stop it.
Crack a fat. Knowing the maturity level of this show,
That's a bit of a giveaway, isn't it?
well, okay, it is. Okay, a fat, like, isn't a fatty, as in
Yep.
your pecker? And so,
Yeah.
is it a hard on?
Yeah, for sure. Why not?
There you go. All right. Oh, great. This is good.
What would I be saying if I said, fuck me dead?
Is this at your Necrophilia Anonymous club that you go to?
It's a saying in Australia. You've heard it before, haven't you?
I've
Heard
used
Marty
it.
say it?
I'm pretty sure I've used it on this podcast many times.
Does it mean like holy shit
Yeah.
kind of thing? Okay, like unbelievable kind of thing?
Yeah. Just exasperated, like, fuck me dead. Can you believe this?
Yeah, okay. There you go. Yeah, so unbelievable.
What about rip snorter?
Oh, we use that too. Rip snorter?
Yeah.
Like a good time kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's a rip
yeah.
snort. Yeah. That's pretty common.
Well, there you go. That's one so far that we've got common.
All right.
Okay, squiz.
How do you spell that?
SQUIZZ. Don't Google it, Jeff.
I'm not. My computer's over here. Listen. That's my. Oh shit! Did I just kill us? Anyway, no, I don't want to. Again, this is the first time I've done Skype, right? So every time I go on Skype, if I go on something else, it wipes me out. Especially going across the pond, as they say. So I have no idea. It sounds like your last name, though. What is it? A lot of Z's.
Take a squiz at this. Take a squiz at
Go
this.
take
Take
a
a
look.
look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Squiz. Take a squiz.
All right, I got one last one for you.
Maybe one more.
All right. Okay.
Blow in the bag.
Wow. Blow in the bag.
Oh,
Blow in the bag. Oh. I don't even want to. Blow in the bag.
Yep.
Blow in the bag. It's an action or it's a thing? Is it a noun or is it a thing?
It's a thing that you do.
Something that
Oh, so it's okay.
Use it in a sentence, Ryan.
I had a couple of bevies and the coppers pulled me over. I had to blow on the bag.
A breathalyzer.
Yes.
Yes.
That's really what you call it, a blow in the bag? Okay.
Is it
a really...
I've never heard of that either.
All right. I think I did okay.
I think you did very mediocre. Well done.
Oh, damn it. All right. You know what? Forget this. I've got some Australian myths I need answered with you two blokes, all right?
Go for it.
Now, everybody in North America thinks a bunch of things about Australia. You're going to, I know Crocodile Dundee is a piece of shit, and that's not what Australia's about. I get that. It's more like the gods must be crazy, right?
Sure. We do a lot of that clicking sound.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no, okay. This is something I googled before, and here's a few of them. This is a myth that apparently Australians say are not true. Martin, number 1, Australians are always drunk.
I've done it while you direct that question to me.
It's just not true? Okay.
No, it is actually, it is true, and I think it's because of the climate. It's quite warm, so, we have a bevy or a tinny, and we put it in our stubby holder.
All right. Make sure you don't do too much, or you'll have to blow in the bag. Australians, all Australians eat Vegemite. Is that true?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's
really,
yeah, a lot of them, a good percentage.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
you just.
I haven't met many people that don't like it.
Yeah, you just get you grow up eating it when you're very young. So yeah, absolutely.
Not a myth. Okay, you all wear budgie smugglers at the beach.
No, just our prime minister.
It depends how big. It depends how big your package is.
Yeah.
In Canada, we love Tim Hortons. That is true. You guys love Tim Tams. Is that what they're called? Tim Tams?
Correct, yes. Yep. Absolutely.
What are Tim Tams?
So I'll have to bring some over for you. So they are effectively a chocolate-coated biscuit with another layer of chocolate in between the biscuits. But it's all completely coated in chocolate. And you used to only really just get chocolate, but now they have all these crazy flavours. And one of our best ice creameries in Australia is called Messina, and they make these, artisan ice creams. They have now brought out a range of Tim Tams, and they are spectacular.
You got to bring them. I'm all excited. Chocolate on chocolate?
Yeah, for sure. Yep, absolutely. I'll bring some over.
The last one, and then we can get back to pinball. Australians are obsessed with AC/DC. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't think any more than other countries. But
well, I love how you guys just take claim to AC/DC. You realize that every member of the band is from Scotland or England, with the exception of one, Phil Rudd, the drummer, who is actually fitting for Australia, arrested for trying to have somebody killed, a criminal act.
Yeah, he's a good bloke.
But I guess, they went there in 73 and they kind of made their mark in Australia, but they're not really an Australian band. I think of, In Excess and Midnight Oil, and I'm not big fans of either of those. In Excess, the Devil Inside, and I never did it for me. Too much saxophone in rock. And Midnight Oil, I mean, that came across the pond here and I was like, what is this? And then I later saw the guy in the Hills Have Eyes, the lead singer. Not a good band. You guys, what is good Australian rock? To me, it's Wolfmother. I love that band.
I love Wolfmother. They are great.
What else is good Australian rock? Because I really want to. I love finding out what different countries listen to, and I'm curious. What's good rock other than Wolfmother?
It's like Wolfmother. I don't listen to Triple J.
And look, I don't actually really listen to a lot of rock music. I'm more into electronic music.
Okay.
So, look, probably another, not around anymore, but another band was Powderfinger. Was a
oh, yeah.
Oh, good, you know them.
Yep.
Who else was there? Oh, I don't. Look, wrong genre
don't
for
say
me.
Olivia Newton-John, please. Not Olivia.
Poor Livy.
All right, let's get back to pinball.
Let's get back to the pinball.
What news do we have here, Money?
Well, guess what? Another week some more code updates.
Batman 66 up to 0.88 now.
Yep. So, another bit of
we're not going to read.
Polish.
Yeah, it's 1.01 every single time. So there's 12 more updates to get to 1.0. So I guess we'll just hand it to you, Jeff. Do you like playing Batman? Is it a good game now?
That's probably the game. That's my next game I'm going to get. I love the theme, and each code gets better and better. I'm positive it's going to be fantastic. I like the shots. That mech is kind of interesting if it works. I know there's been some problems with that too. The big Batcave or the what? Yeah, but it's
the rotisserie.
Yeah, I love the game. I love the theme. I love the callouts. More video. I don't ever judge a game until it's got a full code. So right now it's good and it can only get better.
So do you have one locally that you play, Jeff, in your weekly or monthly tournaments?
Yeah, we get to see one quite a bit. There are a few places that have them around here, so that's always nice too. And I love the game. Love the game.
Yeah, I played it recently with updated code, and I really did enjoy it a lot more. It really started coming together. But I know you say that you don't judge a game when it comes out. I kind of subscribe to that somewhat, but it was out for quite some time before it did come good.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's been out for over a year now, right? And but wasn't it something else was supposed to be released? Didn't you guys uncover that was not supposed to come out, and that's why the code was so weak at the time?
That was Guardians, but I mean, I think they rushed it out as well because of kind of Adam West's health and kind of they wanted to line it up with the anniversary. So it's another game that was kind of pushed ahead. Chris Franchi admitted that he did the art in a couple of weeks versus, they usually take months to do that. So we'll keep on. There'll be 12 more of these segments until we get to 1.0, and then it'll calm down. But
it'll happen.
It'll happen. I know you've got a question mark next to this one on the show notes, Marty. But this week, Chris Tucker or Jackie Chan, someone confirmed that Rush Hour 4 is going to be made into a movie. They've agreed to the terms finally. Have you seen Rush Hour 1, 2, or 3, Marty?
Do you know the answer to that already?
It's usually no, but every once in a while you watch one of these movies.
No, I would never watch a movie like that.
Jeff, have you seen the movies?
I'm with Martin.
You haven't seen them?
I know what they are. I'm not a big fan of that kind of
buddy cop movies.
No, just I just find it like Kevin Hart, I think, is brilliant. He's been doing a few of those buddy cop movies with Dwayne Johnson. That Central Intelligence was pretty funny. I'm just saying, I think they're funnier, right? I took the kids to Jumanji. That was fun too.
Okay. Was it?
Not that that's a cop movie. Well, sure, it was.
Well, oh God, because that I know it's not pinball related again, but the first Jumanji film was a fantastic film. This kind of looked like it was kind of desecrating it somewhat. Did it actually turn out alright?
I thought it was okay. So you're judging it without seeing it, Martin. Interesting.
That is my specialty, Jeff. So.
No, the Rush Hour, I like Jackie Chan a lot, but I want to see him in more action. And he's funny too, but I think the trailers just didn't do it for me. So there's certain kind of movies that just don't interest me, and Rush Hour didn't do it for me. Fast and Furious doesn't do it for me, but they do appeal to a lot of people, just not me.
Yeah. The franchise is 40 years old. I was 14 years old when I first watched it, so the crappy humor's right up my alley as a teenager. 3 movies, $850 million. Who knows if there'll ever be a Rush Hour pinball machine, but I pretty much just brought it up. So, because if there is a pinball machine, geez, you guys haven't watched this. This is just going to fall flat on its face, but maybe someone out there will understand. Chamoli! There has to be a Chamoli call out in the game. If there is, or Kada! Get the multi-ball, Kada! That's fine.
Is that honestly why you brought this into the show notes and therefore polluted this episode with this?
The episode was polluted as soon as Jeff answered the phone, okay?
Point well made.
Oh, gosh.
Now, also this week, we saw our good friends from Straight Down the Middle have done another deluxe review, this time for Pirates of the Caribbean. Did you get to see it, either of you?
I managed to get maybe 20 minutes in, but it's just hit me at the wrong time. I haven't been able to do it yet.
No, I haven't seen it yet. I want to see that, and I want to see the one that Jersey Jack themselves did too, where they kind of explain things, because that's a game that's very, very deep. I don't mind deep games. Might be a little too deep, but that kind of worries me. I know the collectors and some of these people want to not complete a game, but you want a shot at it, don't you?
So I've probably watched, I reckon, probably over an hour of it, and I mean they do. Okay, first things first. Great. They're just great reviews. The quality of the production and presentation is fantastic. So, guys,
agreed,
done a great job. With this one in particular, so I've watched the Houdini one as well. What was really interesting about this was when they spoke to Eric Minier, and he was sort of talking about it from a design point of view, and it went for, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 minutes, and I went, okay, that was really complex. That was like what even he was just, he went, that I just thought to myself, holy crap, that is just, I couldn't remember any of that. And they're like, okay, let's bring out Keith Johnson to go through the rules and the code. I'm like, oh my fucking God. And this, I'm telling you now, this is bonkers, freaking crazy complicated. But well, I still think it's one of those things where you go, oh yeah, multi-ball this and that, but oh wow, everything sort of links together.
This is the thing. I know everyone is going to have almost the same reaction, and it's going to become the thing now. Like, pirates, too confusing, too involved. Guess what? Jersey Jack are going to release a code complete game, right? When Metallica came out or when Batman came out, it's bare bones code, and then they release little updates, and then people understand it because it's incremental. But
Sure.
This game sucks for a long time.
Sure.
Have you seen Lyman Sheets trying to explain his own game with Nate Shivers? He couldn't do it, and he couldn't even remember it, right? And that was after all the code was complete. Can you imagine if Stern did this to one of their more complex games when it came out? People would be saying exactly the same thing, but because they release code incomplete games and they don't explain it, people just kind of figure it out, and some people may never understand the complexities of the game. So I think people are unfairly judging a game because, one, it's hardware complex, which that doesn't matter when you're playing, and two, it's software complex. You don't need to know that if you don't care about the rules in other games.
Yeah, I understand that, but even when you've got a code complete game, and let's say Game of Thrones, right? So everyone was at the time was saying, I don't know, all these houses, the choices, and then Star Trek comes out and it's hasn't got all the best, not Star Trek, Star Wars, and everyone went off their nana about how complex that was, and it was confusing. The point I'm saying with this is that the review is so in depth that you understand every minute detail about how the machine's put together from an engineering point of view, and then the rules. It's crazy complex, but I don't think anybody's going to go up to it and really be thinking about those 1,000 different bits of rules that you just heard. They're going to go, okay, I've got 5 movies that I'm working through. There's a multi-ball for each. If I stack this and I stack that, I can get big points, done, and great.
Well, maybe that's the difference between, a good player and a not so good player.
Yeah, sure.
It's rules knowledge.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
No, what I'm actually saying this as a positive. I just think it's amazing that there is so much thought that's gone into this, this machine, which just to look at is fairly complicated, but it's then matched with this really depth rules, and it wasn't going to be anything less with Kiefer at the helm, right? Sure.
Jeff, what do you? I mean, I know you've kind of said previously on your podcast and on other podcasts that you're a fan of the older games more than the new ones because they're simpler and there's only so much your brain can kind of hold and you don't want to kind of learn all the rules. So I'm guessing you're kind of looking at Pirates of the Caribbean and kind of scratching your head a little bit. It also has an action button, which I know you love.
Okay.
So what are your? Have you played it yet?
I've played it and I love playing it. I think it is a great game. It's one of those games that doesn't feel like a wide body, although I have nothing against wide bodies. I love all the different shots. There's a lot of unique things too. So it's a game I would love to own. It's a game I would play all the time. And when I see it at shows or out on location, I'll play it for sure. But it's a game I don't want to see in a competition because of the deep rules. Now, the one thing I do like about the rules, you can't be the same character. That's kind of a smart thing in multiplayer, because as great as Game of Thrones is, and I'm enjoying that more and more, there are really only one or two paths that people take. And it seems like a lot of work went into it that is really gone for naught because people don't do it in competitions. If I were to own that Pirates of the Caribbean game, or certainly play it a lot, I would try to do all kinds of different things. But in a competition, I don't think I want to see it because of how deep it is. I know that doesn't mean, again, I love the game, so don't take it as a negative. We don't see certain games in competitions. You don't see Lord of the Rings in competition. It's a very, very deep game. It's sometimes long playing, although you can make it tougher. I don't see even Simpsons Pinball Party. Now, I've got two Keith games in World Poker Tour, and the Simpsons Pinball Party I specifically got because I knew they were deep and I wanted to learn them. They're great for home use. Don't see them a lot in competition for that reason. So again, I love the game. Don't want to sound negative. I just don't really want to see it in a competition.
Are you saying you don't want to see that because it has deep rules, as in people can have different strategies that you might not like, or do you think they're just because they're long players?
I don't mind long playing, and you can always make games tougher. I just think it's not even really exploits. The deeper it gets, sometimes there are more scoring exploits that are tougher to overcome as a programmer. I mean, look at all the different combinations that Pirates of the Caribbean have. We're not that full code yet, so again, who knows? It could be great, but there could be some scoring exploits too, especially if you can't pick the same character. They always seem to come out in any game.
What are the scoring exploits in Lord of the Rings? Like, I've never seen someone just do the same thing over and over again, right?
No, you're right about that.
And what are the scoring exploits in Simpsons Pinball Party? It would just be just getting into multi-ball all the time, I guess. So,
I think I sense Ryan's trying to come back at me here a little bit.
No, I think
you said it. I'm just trying to make you explain yourself.
Listen, competition kid. Those aren't really about scoring exploits. They're more about long play. I can't remember the last time I saw in a major competition Lord of the Rings or even Simpsons Pinball Party. And forgive me if I'm wrong. Maybe it was I think Lord of the Rings might have been in a Pinburg Bank, but
it was
I didn't see it.
And they put lightning flippers on it, so that's how they made it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So there's just some games you just don't see, and those are more about the long playing aspect too. And I don't know. I just right now I don't want to see certain games. Again, maybe it's just because I'm a weak player when it comes to rule sets.
Look,
I think so. No, you're right. You're right.
So from my point of view, I kind of agree in a way. Like, if for home, I would absolutely love it because I would want every time I play that game it to be completely different, and that's what they're going for, and that sounds fantastic. But I think when it comes to tournaments and comps, it then becomes you've got two things. You've got rules knowledge and your physical skill, flipper skills, that are then at play to make you a better player. And we know, we've seen this, I'll use Star Wars as an example. There are people that we know that know the rules absolutely perfectly, and they will consistently get better scores than everybody else because of rules knowledge. When you've got a game that is now infinitely more complicated, it then favours those people, dare I say, Jeff, that are a lot smarter than us.
And the one thing in a competition I want is an even playing field. So in older games, I find it's more of an even playing field. There's maybe less to do and less. I get the risk reward thing, but when the rules are that deep and that game, you can't play as the same character, so you can't even take the same path. So you go player 4, you might be at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the advantage that you get pretty much halves your score or whatever it is with that advantage. So it kind of is an advantage and it kind of isn't. So it's just kind of like which path do you want to take that might make something easier, but then you're at the detriment of your own choice. So some of it might not be worth it. But I get what you're kind of saying, Jeff. But I don't know. I kind of agree with you, but I think it's almost got to do more with, multipliers. Like, I don't think, if you don't like reading up on rules and stuff, you're never going to beat someone who knows the rules of Star Wars and how to move the multiplier around and stuff. So, wouldn't you rather play someone at Lord of the Rings than Star Wars? Because Lord of the Rings you can get double the playfield and stuff, but it doesn't have a crazy, 40 times multiplier shot that you can move around that, Don't you think there's a bigger difference in, say, Star Wars than Lord of the Rings?
Based on those two games, I would rather play Lord of the Rings. But keep this in mind too, Ryan. If you're going into a competition, Ryan C., going into a competition, you're playing Lord of the Rings. That's just one game of many competitions. That's long playing times. And those stinky players are going to be around you for a lot longer. So put that in your back.
It's a lot of crop dusting. It's a lot of bombs. A lot of bombs being dropped. 30-minute bombs.
Anyway, so we are going to we're going to link it in the show notes, but definitely, and it's a 2-part series. So I think the first one goes for just over 2 hours. So just watch it. It's amazing. And as I was trying to say, as a positive, I just think it's fascinating that it really is so deep. And I think it probably is because once you go to a level of depth, you've then got to balance everything and you've got to troubleshoot this so there aren't exploits, as you're talking about, Jeff. So I think that's why, you've got Eric, who's really excited about his design, and you've got Kiefer, obviously, who's very excited about his rules. They've had to go to that depth probably because of all the exploits that people are going to find and the balancing required.
Cool. Iron Maiden, Jeff, I'm just going to chuck this one in there. Are you a fan of the band?
Seen them 5 times. Not at all.
Wow. I've seen them once.
Yeah, of course. In fact, here's a cool story. One time
I was on Jerry Springer and Iron Maiden was there.
Just really quickly. It was one of the cities where I do a radio show. Iron Maiden was playing. They were the headliner. Alice Cooper was opening for the band, and yours truly, got to stand in front of 20,000 fans to introduce the bands. It was pretty cool. So one of our listeners made me. They knew I like baseball. I have this amazing Iron Maiden baseball jersey. Like, it would cost hundreds of dollars to buy this thing. It's got the big Iron Maiden patch, Iron Maiden lettering on the front. So it's one of the nice things someone's ever given me. And I'm looking forward to that game big time.
I started listening to Iron Maiden for the first time this week, believe it or not, because
God.
It's not on the radio. It's not on the radio here. People say, hey, listen to Iron Maiden. I just kind of looked up, just Google it and see the pictures with the scary looking dudes. I'm like, that's just
His name's
not my
Eddie.
kind of thing. Is it the same guy in every single picture?
Yeah, Eddie.
Yes, Eddie. Martin, help him out, please.
Yeah, it is, yes. And as you know, I was a big Iron Maiden fan when I was very young, but I got to see them a few years ago, and they were amazing.
Anyway, I really like him, and I'm only I'm only listening to their top hits, I guess. So I'm not diving deep into their the guys have brought out so many albums, but
oh my God, Ryan, just stop talking. All right, let the big boys talk here, Martin. We're going to talk Iron Maiden. Don't get the guy who just first listened to him this week and who's raising his daughters, and the only music he listens to is "Toot Toot Chugga Chugga Big Red Car" Wiggles.
No, can I just say before we do How to Dream, I'm actually just really pleased that he's listened to it and he actually enjoys it. I think that's actually a good news story here.
Do you remember what songs you listened to?
I'm going to tell you my favorite 5 songs. You ready?
Yep.
And these are obviously going to be the kind of like the ones that everyone likes, just like, but I'm sure they're going to be on there because they're the most popular ones. Fear of the Dark, right?
Oh, okay.
I love that song.
Oh, good.
Wasted Years. The Number of the Beast.
Yeah, for sure.
Run for the Hills.
Yep.
And hallowed be
thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Yep.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, you got to get the Number of the Beast album. That's great too.
Yeah,
22 Acacia Avenue, and what else is the Children of, what's that song? Help me out, Martin. I can't remember. It's not in front of me, but that is a great album. You haven't even mentioned The Trooper yet. Oh, it's so good.
I watched that, but that was one that I listened to a decent amount. I couldn't get into it. I don't know why that one's just one of the most popular songs. I've got to give it some more listens. But anyway, I'm into. I almost like them more than I like Metallica, and I own a Metallica pin. So what does that say? I'm not going to go buy one new because Marty's going to do that. You're so going to get it, Marty. I know you're like, I wonder if it's going to be American Pinball's Houdini or this. It's going to be this. Iron Maiden, who knows? By next week, it might already be announced because we're nearing Texas Pinball Festival. It's apparently going to be there. So any minute now, Stern's going to drop the bomb, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, are you going to Texas Pinball Festival, Ryan? I haven't heard that on every single podcast.
I don't get out very often, okay? I'm very excited.
Well, it's been announced this week that our good friends at Netherworld up in Queensland are going to be doing their next Death by Pinball. What is it, Ryan?
Death by Pinball. Yeah, okay, so you got 24 Hours at the Sanctum in the US. There was Death by Pinball last year where they did a 18-hour non-stop tournament, and this year they've extended it out to 24 hours. So it is the only other tournament in the world that is doing 24 hours. I know a couple of people we know have signed up. Guys, Jeff and Martin, if it was in your kind of your backyard and somewhere that you can go to easily, would you do it? Would you play 24 hours of non-stop match play?
In North America, they have the 24-hour Sanctum in November, and it's 100 people, and it sells out very, very quickly. It's exactly like it's match play. I was going to say it's like Pinburg, but it's not. I think the groups. I don't know. I've never been. I don't know if I could do it. Martin, I kind of heard you go, you and I are thinking probably the same thing. I think I'd be dead tired I'm dead tired right now. It's early in the morning here. I don't know if my body could take it. And I definitely know my body would be wrecked after it. I'd be more worried about after it than actually playing in it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I love the idea of playing pinball for 24 hours. I really do. I worry about my physicality and my age. Let's put it out there. I don't know whether I'd last the 24 hours. I reckon I'd be an absolute mess. And I do remember, I can't remember how long ago it was, probably a couple of years ago when Jack Danger did his 24-hour stream and then just sort of talked about after what sort of pain he went through. Like he was still feeling the pain of it a couple of weeks later. So I don't know. I love the sound of it and said, good friends of ours have been before and said it's amazing.
Yep. And there's Stu that I was talking to today, and he's going again, and he's super excited about it. And the funny thing he said is that he kind of like flew in to do it, the 18-hour one, but then he didn't book a hotel to stay there and sleep for the rest of the day. So he then, drove back to the airport and then got on a 4-hour flight, didn't sleep on the plane, and he was up for way more than 24 hours.
You would be a bag of shit. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. So this 24-hour Sanctum, the one they have in November, it gets done around 9 a.m. in the morning, 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning, somewhere around there, give or take an hour. So what do? Do you get a hotel room for that night? Because you're going to be booted out by 1. And what are you going to do the day before? It starts at, obviously 9, 10 a.m. I think they do it over daylight saving time. So it screws you up for hotels too, because I don't know. I guess the airport hotels kind of do it by the hour. I don't know. I haven't done. It's been a few years since I've done the hotel by the hour thing. It's okay. It never happened. But anyway, that's the thing. Like if you have to drive somewhere, if you have to go to an airport, you are going to be wrecked. But that being said, I'm stupid enough that I'll try it this year, and I guess I'm kind of worried about it. And at the same point, it'll be fun. I would do it, and I would do it once, and that's it.
Oh, okay. So I thought you meant like definitely no, I'm not going to do it, but you're actually going to try and get tickets this year to do it.
I say that, but as we get closer, I'm like, maybe.
I want you to do the pinball profile there, and just I want all the first interviews to be super perky, and then by the end, I just want you to be like, "Who the fuck are you? Why are you still here?"
Can you send me the questions here? I can hear them now. So, how'd you get into pinball? So, tell us about yourself.
Oh no. We can never ask that question again, Marty.
Who farted?
Jeffrey. How many bombs have you dropped today? Just a little kind of bit of news on the Monster Bash remake that's going to be revealed, I guess, at the Texas Pinball Festival. It's going to have the same amount of pins as the Attack from Mars remake. So you have the classic edition, the special edition, and the limited edition. The limited edition will have multiple trim options, just like AFMR, and I believe there'll be a topper as well. Next week, we'll have even more news regarding that, because I believe they're going to be announcing something very soon. Marty.
Awesome.
Martin and I have the same reaction. We're not going to Texas Pinball. Who cares? Talk all you want, Ryan.
No, but I know.
Go listen to Iron Maiden, kid.
I'm just excited because I know how much Ryan is looking forward to this, and it's going to make great podcast content. So I'm looking forward to having a chat with him when he's over there.
I have no idea how we're going to do it while I'm over there, because I'm not going to do a 2-hour podcast. I'll send you little audio notes and you can just add them to the podcast, because, oh man, I'm going to be on holiday. I'm going to be in the US.
That's pretty much what I did. Anyway, moving on. And
you pulled it together, Martin. You did it.
I did it right. Thank you very much.
That's right.
That's what I do. That's the commitment I have to this podcast. So other news. So some Stern news, Ryan.
A couple of rumors. Someone rang me during the week, and this is someone that's never given me any kind of information or rumors, but I'm just going to say what he kind of said, because he said you can go ahead and say on the podcast, just in case he's correct. He said that a future Stern machine will have a complete jukebox feature with songs from whatever machine is out, kind of like a jukebox, and you can play every single song from all their albums. Is that bullshit or not? I don't know.
Bullshit.
He didn't mention the album, but are Iron Maiden the band that would agree to do that, since they're, they're so cool because, they don't do any advertising, and oh my gosh, they're so cool because they get no radio play, but they've sold like 100 million albums. They're so cool. Are they cool enough to give Stern all their songs?
No. And think about not a chance. No way, because that's no way. They're not giving that stuff up for free, and no price could, maybe an album in its entirety, but the Stern or whoever is doing the license has got to pay for that. That's big bucks. That's their bread and butter. Not a chance.
Okay, bullshit rumor. Strike it off. And the other rumor he said was that the next. Thanks, Jeff. The next VE will be called the Enhanced VE, and it'll have an LCD screen. And I think that rumor kind of exists already with Tron possibly being the candidate. So let's head to a new age legend cracks Ryan's awesome puzzle. Are you ready to take Martin down once again, Jeff Teolis?
Is this anal crap?
This is anal crap.
Yeah, and just for the record, I have never won this.
You'll beat me, hands down.
No, I won't, because Ryan will do what he always does. He'll have the final question, which is only the answer worth bonus points.
Okay, I'm going to make it fair. You guys can decide between you if you want the last question to be worth 1 point or the amount of points required for you to win.
Okay, we'll work that out. All right, go.
Well, no. You have to answer.
It doesn't matter. You pick, Martin. Martin, you're going to win this, so it doesn't matter. You pick.
Let's just go single point.
Okay.
Let's keep it fair.
Well, I got to come up with a call out, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Yes. Sorry. You know our show better than us.
Yeah. It was so funny listening to Charlie Emery try to figure out what to do with the show, and you had to explain it.
That was the best. I didn't realize what he was thinking until I listened back, and he was like, "You guys have a database of like every single sound that ever came out."
No, you make up the call out. Good. Yeah.
My call out will be from Star Wars Data East. I've heard some bad impressions in my day, and Ron Howlett doing an Australian accent is right up there. But whoever did the call out for C-3PO, shoot the Death Star. That's my call out.
You sound like,
That's really good.
it sounds like you're one of the guys from Oktoberfest. Yeah, Death Star. Okay, Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
In center, what do the drop targets in the middle spell?
Shoot the Death Star. Or
Yes, Jeff.
No, it is too.
Martin, how did you not get that? That was for you.
I know. I had a blank. Let's go.
Okay. Besides the new JJP Pirates machine and the Stern Pirates machine, name another pirate-themed pinball machine.
shoot the Death Star.
Yes, Jeff?
Daddy East Hook, baby. Let's
Cool.
stay with the Daddy East boys.
I would have gone Black Rose.
I was going to... Yeah, Black Rose, yep.
Oh,
How many drop targets are there in Paragon?
Go for the wall.
Yes, Martin. You got 5 seconds. 5.
yeah, what's this Google
4,
bullshit?
3, 2, 1.
7.
Martin? Yes, you... Oh, okay.
Shit.
No, honestly, I was looking.
No,
at,
honestly.
You've got the 4 inline on the left, and I'll tell you what I was doing. I was trying to think if there's got 3 on the right, and then I was wondering whether there was some like a center bank, and I just went, I can only think of 7. I just went to Indisc and played this.
And I was waiting for my buffering on my internet to catch up. But anyway, go on.
What is the wizard mode called in Family Guy?
Go for the wall.
Yes, Marty. You're going to Google it again?
No, I don't know.
Hold on. Martin knows.
Jeff, a chance to steal.
You know what?
You guys
That's
suck.
too bad
It's
because I saw it 2 years ago when Keith did it at Pinburg. I can't remember.
Do you remember what was flying across the screen? The DMD animations? Did it happen to be sperm? It's called Sperm Attack.
Oh my God.
I haven't seen it. I'm guessing there's like sperm animations. All right, let's change it. Let's change it to something else. What's the wizard mode called on World Poker Tour?
I have no idea.
Never been.
You have the game, Jeff. You
I've
have
never
the game,
come
though.
close. I think I've only got 4 cities. I'm terrible at it.
Oh, no. Okay, what's the wizard mode called on Simpsons Pinball Party? You go.
Oh, shoot the Death Star. It's a wizard mode. Alien invasion.
No, that's a mini wizard mode.
You said name
a
wizard mode. You didn't say name the wizard mode. Check the tapes. I'm taking the point.
No one's getting anything.
Don't wreck Canada Australia relations here over this, all right? I'll send Bart Simpson over there to moon you bastards.
We'll give you the big boot. No one gets anything for that. Martin 1, Jeff 2.
So what's the
By the way,
answer
on World Poker 2, it's called the Kiefer Invitational, and on the Simpsons Pinball Party, it's called the Super Duper Extreme Wizard Mode, I believe. There might be another word in there. But anyway, you guys didn't say anything like that.
No.
Okay. On the Simpsons Pinball Party, we'll keep it with the Simpsons just to give Jeff a chance.
Oh, this is not fair to Martin. He hates the game.
Well, he was playing it today, so Apu gives you a discount for expired milk. How much is that discount? It's horrible. How much of a discount do you get?
Shoot the Death Star. Shoot the Death Star. I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm guessing 25,000.
25,000% off. How much percent? It's a call out. Something percent off for expired milk.
10.
Yes.
That was a guess. All right.
That was a guess. All right, Martin 1, Jeff 3. This is going horribly. Okay. Martin, this is all you. In Iron Man, you're in Ironmonger mode. You get him down. You shoot for the super jackpot. How much are you awarded?
Oh, I have no idea, but I'll say go for the wall and say 10 million.
No.
Jeff, and still
Shoot the Death Star. I will guess 2.5 million?
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
That's 3. I think it's. I think it's 3.
Did you hear that?
Hold on a
I
second.
think it's 3.
Think it's 3. Does Alec Trebek do that on Jeopardy? You know?
All right.
Is Mount Rushmore? I'm not
You
sure.
got 4 more questions. We're getting there. Martin, you need some points.
I do need points.
In the Walking Dead Premium / Alley, which you were also playing today, Marty, what is the thing called underneath the left ramp?
Go for the wall.
Yes, Marty.
Bicycle girl.
Yes.
Oh,
Woo!
my
Marty
God.
too.
I get one. I just had to Google that.
Oh.
In total nuclear annihilation, there are 2 extra balls available. In which reactors do you need to start to get them?
Shoot the Death Star.
Yes, Jeff.
3 and 6.
Ooh, Jeff, up to a 4-point lead. Up to 4 points. He's got a 2 point. Marty, you have to get 2 right in a row just to draw. Okay.
I've never won.
How great is that game?
Expectations.
Okay, so I'm going to play a sound on my phone, and basically it's a sound from a pinball machine. You need to tell me what pinball machine it's from. Oh my gosh. 1 second. Let me play that again. My sound was all the way down. Okay. Here we go.
Shoot the Death Star.
Yes.
The sound.
Jeff?
It's the sound Ryan made when he looked at the Strikes and Spares back glass. Give me my point.
No.
It's probably very similar. I'd be happy for him to have that point because it probably is right.
That's a good answer.
Well, can you understand what he's saying though, the person? Or did I put the microphone? One more time. Okay. I know Steve Bowden is sitting there just screaming the answer. What is it? He's saying sleep. Sleep. It's the match sequence on Spider-Man. Sleep. Oh, gosh. You guys don't pay attention to anything when you play pinball except the score. Okay. Last question. Okay. What sound is this from? You guys better get this.
Shoot the Death Star. Simpsons Pinball Party.
Woohoo! Okay, Martin, you lose again. Jeff, you are the first Canadian winner. Congratulations.
Yay!
Well done.
I joked with Josh Sharp. I said I might not be Canadian because I just missed out the IFPA 15. I'm like 9th alternate or something like that. Not that I was ever close, but that big competition is annual. It goes back and forth between North America and Europe. And it was in Toronto this year. So I was like, oh, that'd be great if I made it. And I just missed it. And how they do it is they take the top 2 people from every country and they get kind of a free invite to that. Not a free invite, you pay, but it's an invitation only, 64 players. So I said to him, at the end of the year, I'm going to find a country that I have a higher status than anyone, and I'm going to go play one tournament there, and then that'll be my new country. Which I said jokingly, I would never do that. Some people may have done that, and there's a rule that might be coming out where they say you have to actually live in that country. I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Just go to like Nicaragua, just somewhere really remote. Marty and Jeff, shall we play the stolen, segment that we love so much, Slam the Top 100?
Yes.
Marty's so tired.
I really am.
I'm just waking up. This is good.
This is your version of coffee. Just me and Marty just blabbing in your ear hole for 2 hours. Let's do a 3-way one. We've never done a 3-way.
Maybe you haven't.
Okay. What went down at Indias, guys? Come on. All right.
So we need to.
It only takes an extra 1 minute.
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. Did I win my first one, Marty?
I believe you've won your very first Slam the Top 100.
Yes. Big Bang Bar is officially better than, what was I up against? I can't even remember.
Frontier. Now,
I,
admittedly, now this is from our vintage, Jeff, but Frontier is a fantastic game. It's as I said, it's kind of that vintage of like your Centaur and your 8-Ball Deluxe, that kind of style, and it's a fantastic game. But it's hard for those kind of games to compete with the likes of Big Bang Bar, which is highly sought after. It's almost at legendary status. So that's all I'm saying, is that the Big Bang Bar is a better game. Not that your argument was.
There are 2 Big Bang Bars in our league in 2 different places. How odd is that? And wow. Frontier is, I like that era. That game beats the shit out of me. I don't like seeing that in competitions. It's a tough game.
Yeah, you didn't vote, Jeff. So you would have chosen Big Bang Bar or Frontier?
Yeah, I would have. No, Big Bang.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize how many green girls there are in pinball. There's the green stripper in Big Bang Bar. There's Gamora, who's in Guardians. She's green, and apparently there's a green person in Star Trek that Kirk loves or something. Is that right? You're
in the first movie.
Martin. In the first movie, yeah. Is that also by the same chick, Zoe Saladina, or whatever her name is, Salada?
No, I think that was her roommate in the first movie. She came in.
That's right. Yeah,
and Kirk was messing around with the green girl.
Just everyone loves green girls. It's the new thing. Okay, let's do it. Should I generate some numbers?
Go for it. I've got the Pinside Top 100 ready to go.
Martin, you're not allowed to read off a flyer. I heard that.
Yes.
Well, you did say that there would be conditions this time. Okay, I will not read out the flyer. Let's just pick a game that I know.
Please generate a number from 0 to 100.
Sure.
This is mine, by the way. This is mine.
37.
Nice
37 is the Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
You're fucked.
That's bad. All right. Okay, Jeff, you going to be next?
Yep.
Please generate a number from 0 to 100.
All right.
37. Why is Big Lebowski so high up?
Yeah, it says it all.
47.
47.
Oh,
Alien. Yeah.
Yeah, let
Oh
me
my
pick
God.
Houdini. Come
Predator.
on.
You're going to get Predator. Okay. Marty's going to get... Okay, this is Marty's one. Please generate a number from 0 to 100.
All right.
Oh, it better be a stinker.
89.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, Sea Witch! Oh, this is a weird one. Okay, so I have the lowest number, so I have to go first, right?
Yep.
Go for it.
Okay, so me first, then Jeff, okay, then Martin. So, Jeff, I know you probably know the rules, but the first round of 30 seconds, you can't talk about other pins, just your own pin. The second round, you can say whatever you want about your pin or any of the others. All right, let's... Oh, gosh. All right, let me just get the timer ready. And... Big Lebowski, what can we say? There's plenty of them out there from a super reliable company. It's innovative. You've got a bowling alley, which definitely doesn't get repetitive. You've got awesome call-outs from the movie. You've got that crystal clear LCD display. You've got people that are just willing this company on because the game is so good, even though they're going through all their troubles. Great rules, collecting bowling balls that mean absolutely nothing to the game. The Big Lebowski. Okay.
Well, I think next week we should also have a proviso that it's got to be based on facts. So, yeah, like a clear display. That was one of them. Keep going.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff, you ready?
Yeah.
You interviewed Andrew Highway.
Go ahead.
Behind the scenes.
I got a lot of stuff on this one. Go ahead. Tell me when to start.
Okay, ready, sick, go.
Yes, I have interviewed Andrew Highway, and he was very, very proud about this game. It's a theme that he's wanted to do for years and years. It was originally going to be done with Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it wasn't available. So now we've got it with Highway Pinball, designed by Dennis Nordman. He's made so many great games. Great rule set from Brian Dominy and also Joe Schober, two people have been on Pinball Profile. A lot of fun things, a visual, entertaining game for sure. And if you've got Full Throttle, you can pop this in. Look at that. You don't even have to buy a new cab.
Okay. That's your 30 seconds. Okay. Marty, are you ready with Sea Witch? Marty's looked up the flyer for sure.
The flyer. He's found a commercial.
You ready, Marty?
Sure.
I am. I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
I mean, who can resist the strange, compelling call of the fantastical Sea Witch? What I will tell you, though, that this is Stern of that era, their best machine. You know, those old sort of 80s sort of Sterns and Bally's, they didn't really have flow. They had shots and targets and, you know, spinners. This game has got flow, and it's got fantastic art, and it is so good, in fact, that Ryan's got one. There you go. I give you Sea Witch.
Okay. Ready for my rebuttal?
Yep.
The only reason why I bought Sea Witch is because it was cheap as fuck. It is the clunkiest thing. You can't hit that orbit. That orbit cannot be hit properly. Okay, it's an absolute clunk fest, and it's the only pinball machine that I have that is a pinball table because I use it to store all of my shit. Alien doesn't work ever. Okay, and the company is such in the shithole compared to the Big Lebowski, which is in absolute top dollar. Sorry, my time's run out. All right, Jeff, your time starts now.
Well, I like what you said about Sea Witch, so I will not say anything about that. I think you covered it all, Ryan. But let's talk about the Big Lebowski, the only game that comes with a rug, which is perfect to put over top of the game so you don't have to see it when it doesn't work. Next week is actually the 20th anniversary of the movie, The Big Lebowski, which coincides with when you'll probably receive a Big Lebowski if you ordered one from Dutch Pinball. So. It's a turd. Alien's fantastic. Great music by David Thiel. I mean, Alien is the theme everybody wants. Lots of fun, lots of innovation there.
Hold on. Stop talking. Marty, I know you haven't gone yet, but since we have to work in teams to take down Jeff or something, mention that Dennis Nordman left. It's not really a Dennis Nordman design. Okay, are you ready, Marty?
Dave Saunders, right? It was Dave Saunders, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, no, it was Dennis Norman for a bit, but anyway, Marty, your time starts now.
So, what can I say about the Big Lebowski that hasn't been said before? I'll repeat myself. Envelope folding machines. There you go. Alien, what a beautiful machine. I love it. The flow is great. The lighting, the sound. It looks great. Doesn't fucking work. So, fuck off. I'm done.
You got 5 seconds, Marty.
No, I'm done.
This might actually be a close one because I have no idea what people are going to say about these machines.
You know what? My money's on Sea Witch because
there's no
people voting.
Well, maybe there was controversy back then.
Because a lot of people have played it.
Oh my gosh! All right, that was Slam the Top 100.
What a great
Thanks, Google.
3 people. That works well because Jeff, you didn't need to slam the Big Basket because I already slammed it. So
yeah, no, you slammed Sea Witch, which was great. I like the game, but I think Sea Witch is probably going to win. That's my guess. And then knowing the way Martin votes too, he's going to grab somebody's phones and he's going to start voting for it anyway.
I got a whole call center of people if I need to. So.
That's right.
Let's move on to this week in pinball. Jeff, you're still around. You're still on the phone. Have you been up to anything interesting this week in pinball that you would like to talk about?
No, my big thing's next weekend. So I'm not on the show next weekend. So let me talk about that. It's going to be the Louisville Arcade Expo in Louisville, Kentucky. A lot of great people there. It's a Stern Pro Circuit event run by Doug Polka, and a lot of players from the Pittsburgh area and New York area will be there. Looking forward to that. And also, there's also the Pin Masters tournament and the Nationals tournament in Vegas too. So 2 huge tournaments in North America next weekend. Just a lot of league play for me this week. You know, Martin, do you get like this? And I say this because Martin plays a lot of competitions, and Ryan, you just play with yourself in more ways than one. I get to the point, like I was just absolutely terrible this week playing pinball. Like I'd never played before on my home games and then at a league. And I thought I need to step away for maybe a few days because maybe I'm trying too hard and I just couldn't play worth a shit. So I just took a few days off and played yesterday. Still can't play worth a shit, which is not good going into a Big Papa Circuit event next week. What do you do to overcome that, Martin?
Well, I was only talking to Ryan about this today. I've only had one tournament that I've been in this year in Australia, and 2 tournaments in total. And one of them was in disc, and the other one was the Australian Championship Series. And even then, like, it would have been November, I reckon, was probably the last time I did a comp. So I've actually been out of that for a while. And I'm actually playing better than I have for a while, probably because I'm just not in that environment. I've just been playing a lot of pinball at home, and I've been streaming a lot, so I've been honing my skills on the stream. So, but I have had that situation before, and about 3 years ago, I actually did famously announce at a comp, that's it, I've had enough, I'm done, because I just kept playing so poorly that it was really frustrating. So I took 2 months off, came back, and started playing better. Have a break.
Good advice.
Jeff
advice.
You couldn't take 2 months off, Jeff. Your calendar's full.
You're right about that. Yeah, I've got March is ridiculous. There's Chicago, a bunch. I probably do a competition, whether it's a league or an actual tournament, maybe once a week.
Wow.
So it's but that's just where I live, and in the proximity of where tournaments are and the ability to go to different places, that I'm very fortunate to have that opportunity. But I love it. And the reason I kind of jam it in right now is because I missed a lot. I mean, these people have been playing pinball competitions for years and years and years. I've only been in it really for 3 years, really hard. I started 4 years ago, but 3 hard. And so I'm kind of catching up because I know I've probably got maybe 3-5 years left at best.
At pinball, or your life in general?
A little bit of A, a little bit of B. I've been coughing up blood.
You too, mate. What the hell? What's happening? You can't just say that. What's happening in a couple of years? You think you're just going to get so old that your flipper skills won't be anywhere near as good enough, or what's going on?
I would imagine the older you get, the harder it gets. I've talked to some people on the other side of 50 who've said it's a little harder, but that, I used to play a lot of baseball, and I really, really enjoy that game. I know it's not big there in Australia, but I think do you know who Graham Lloyd is?
No.
You know who that is?
Nope.
It's like a Major League Baseball. I think the only Australian ever to make Major League Baseball. But anyway, once I felt I wasn't doing as well as I had in the past, I shut it down because I didn't want that decline. So if pinball becomes that way, I would probably do the same. I'd still play, but not in competitions.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of professional athletes do that. There was this one guy in Australian rules football who was almost at the peak of his career, but then he just kind of had one bad year, and he just said, like, it wasn't even that bad. He was still like the best full forward player, kind of like Tom Brady kind of thing, and he just quit. And he said, the day you wake up and you feel like you're not good and the younger kids are kind of catching up to you, which I guess you can't really do that in pinball because there's so many young people coming up, but yeah, a lot of people, I guess, do that because they don't want to just kind of be making up the numbers and not performing the best as they I guess could in the years. So yeah.
Great insight, Ryan. Great insight.
Yeah, nice. So wise.
I'm starting to fall asleep too. Martin, you're not alone.
So let's talk about our week, Ryan. So we've actually had a couple of great streaming events. So you got to play Guardians for the very first time. So this was a limited edition. So thank you, good friend Anthony, for inviting you over, and then I sort of invited myself over. So you've now got to play it. What do you think?
Okay, so it's extremely fast, and that's on, like, he had it set up at 6.5 degrees, so I can't imagine how fast this thing would be on a higher pitch. The flippers feel amazing, like all Stern games when they're new out of the box, and the layout is great. The layout is great. It shoots great. It's Metallica without all of the rules and stuff like that, and I might even say that it shoots possibly better than Metallica. Because as I said, it was just new. It's like playing a brand new machine. Well, it was. The bit that I didn't like was this. It has to have. Someone can email in and tell me if I'm wrong. It has to have the worst sound integration in any modern pinball ever.
It's a mess.
At the moment, it's a not a mess. It's a fucking mess. It is like mind-blowingly bad. Blowing a fucking bag. It's bad. It's
Blowing a bag.
Blowing a bag. The worst thing about it is that it's just a whole bunch of sounds mixed together with it's like there's no thought process that went into it. You got songs playing that the sound goes down, then it comes back in, and you've got all these hardcore kind of like battle scene music scores playing. You've got, pew, 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 pew going off at the same time. And then on top of all of that, they decide to play out the scene. And it's just people talking. It's just people having a fucking conversation in the middle of your pinball game. Just these B grades or like D grade voice actors just fucking having a conversation. And there's no point in the game that you're like, oh, I remember that cool bit. Can you imagine if you're playing Indiana Jones and you start a mode and then they just start fucking talking the entire scene of that mode for 30 seconds? Guess what happens in Indiana Jones? You hit a shot and you hear a call out about the Marx Brothers, and you hear little tidbits, and it gets you excited. And it's the same voice from the actual movie, so there's some recognition there. These aren't even the real fucking voices, and they're playing the entire conversation. It just doesn't seem right. And guess what? There's an option in the menu to take the whole fucking thing out. That's how bad it is. And we did it just for a joke, and it doesn't work, doesn't Marty? We did it and we started a mode and he's still bobbly boboing all over the fucking place, right?
Yeah. So
Marty?
yeah. Look, oh
my god.
Wow. Can we just have a moment then? That right there was a Ryan rant. Okay. Wow. Now, okay. Okay. I don't know. I was talking to someone, the other day about, the podcast and you and I and how we're very different. And I said, one thing that's really, really different about Ryan to me? Ryan loves
his hair.
Ryan loves call-outs. For some reason, Ryan loves call-outs. So I've accepted that. You love your call-outs. So when a machine has call-outs that are just... As I said, a mess, and they don't serve a purpose. They don't seem integrated. Me personally, I think don't care. It played well. The light show was great. The flippers felt great. I really enjoyed the rules. I think the code has really come together. And I played that only a couple of months ago, and I came back and famously said I thought it was terrible. But I also said, I hope that they can redeem this game through code, and I absolutely think they have. I think that it now is...
What? What a joke, Marty. What? No. Okay, keep on going, and I'm going to rebut what you just said.
No,
go for it.
What I'm saying is, I'm now starting to see a game appear. Like, it was just so bare bone before. It was group multi-ball or it was orb multi-ball, and that was it. I agree that the call-outs just felt really odd. I personally think the music is the stuff that's a bit more odd when it just breaks into a song, which just is a little bit weird. But I can start now seeing that it can possibly be a good game.
Every game can possibly be a good game, but I mean, if you think that the rules are well integrated now, then they must have been just the absolute worst before.
They were.
Because we quickly realized after playing that group multi-ball is shit now. Like, there's no point in playing group, even though you can get into it. I guess a good way to keep your balls in play by kind of getting into multi-ball easily. But all multi-ball. I mean, I went out of the room when you played your entire game. Yeah, you played all multi-ball. You got the super jackpot. You got 260 million in one shot. So what you do is you hit orb, you get into it, you hit it again as a countdown, and that becomes your jackpot. You multiply the shot, you hit orb, then you hit the next shot. You hit orb, the next shot. Kind of like prison multi-ball in Walking Dead. And then you get the super jackpot, which is worth, I mean, if the base value on your one was worth 1.01 million, okay, and your super jackpot, which was multiplied by, I think, either 2 or 4, was worth 200 plus million, that means that super jackpot is 50 times the normal base value score, right? So you got the grand champion, and guess what I did? After the stream finished, I played the same game, and my base value was like 2.2 million. So when I finished the Orb Multi-Ball, which I did in the grace period, I got 550 million off one freaking shot. It was more than half my score. It just blew everyone's grand champion score out of the water. It's so imbalanced. It's not funny.
I know.
Jeff, I know you're still there. What do you think about Guardians of the Galaxy?
You want a tiebreaker here? Because I've heard Martin and I've heard you talk. First of all, the game is beautiful. I think it looks great. I like has Borg made a bad game in the last 10 plus years? Not a chance. The code is not complete. So you're right. Now, from what you're saying, if this is true, that's a scoring imbalance that will be, I'm sure, fixed with future code. Remember when Star Wars first came out and that 40 time shot, and they dialed that back a little bit too. I think they'll fix this as well too. I love the shots. The callouts, they don't matter as much to me unless they're really, really, really horrible. Yeah, it's not the same, but I can get over it. The music is good that it's licensed and stuff. I'm sure if I owned the game, I would definitely be sick of Hooked on a Feeling and probably turn that down. I like the Runaways. I like that Cherry Bomb song, but I don't want to hear that all the time. I'm holding out for full code and then, again, make the judgment. But that game's got, yes, any game can be great, but that game is going to be great.
Yeah, the only issue is everyone says it'll be good, and I agree with you, Jeff, that it has all of the making. It looks pretty. It's a good license. The shot
you love
layout,
hexagons.
It shoots. We love hexagons. It shoots amazing. But the chances of it being good, sure. But what if Iron Man comes out and everyone goes to that and Guardians hasn't sold for crap? What motivation does Stern have? Like they still haven't.
Stern just hired a bunch of programmers. They just released code for AC/DC, which they hadn't done in 3 years. They're giving us code for Ghostbusters. They're giving us code for that Walking Dead code that came out of nowhere was amazing. So I have faith. They have addressed that coding is maybe not a concern, but needs more attention. And I have full confidence that game is going to be great and the code will be awesome. I think it's good. I'm not worried at all.
Would you buy it and then wait 2 years for it to be great? That's the thing, though. People are buying these things, and then all the other machines come out, and it gets pushed to the end of the list. And hey, like Ghostbusters, like who still has faith that Ghostbusters will be good? I mean, there's pretty much a non-existent wizard mode in there, and people get to it, and then the game kind of does nothing. I don't know. I'm down on it because of. I wish it was because the game shoots so well. I feel like it deserves.
That's it right there.
That's it.
If the game shoots well, have faith. Ghostbusters doesn't shoot well. It bounces all over the place. If you have the premium, those slings are annoying. I want more control. I don't like the hop you get when it goes over the rails.
Yeah.
But you don't have. You said the shots are great. That's all that really matters for pinball, and then the code will come. I mean, that if you have bad shots, what do you love about Dialed In? Forget the code, the fact that that's really good, but the shots were amazing in that game the first time you played it. And Martin and I have something in common. Not huge Lawler fans.
No, that's right.
But when that game came out, I was like, oh my God, this is great. And I love certain Lawler games, but a lot of games I really don't like. I don't like being penalized for hitting a skill shot. You hit the skill shot in Whirlwind and it drains. Go to hell. That's stupid. And I think No Good Gophers is the same thing too. That really pisses me off. So, and then that's it. And in fact, in League, when we play and something like that happens, you'll hear me always go, fucking Lawler. because it's so annoying. But Dialed In, there's nothing annoying about it. Great shots make for a great game. Code only makes it better. And that's what's going to happen with Guardians.
All right. I apologize. I apologize to the Guardians people out there. I apologize to Stern. I apologize to Anthony.
You don't have to apologize.
It was an amazing game. Marty, I want you to apologize to Anthony as well because you were at his house. Hooked on a Feeling starts playing. And this is like the first game of the stream. You turned around to me and said out loud in front of Anthony, who's inviting us to his house for the first time, "Oh, this song is fucking shit."
And
It is.
Come on, mate.
and Jeff backs me up as well. I was just stating facts. But Cherry Bomb is an awesome song, right? So anyway, that's enough on Guardians.
That was Guardians.
Wow.
I look forward to playing it. I really had fun playing it. I couldn't believe how bad the audio was. Anyway, moving on. Today we had a little party, Marty. Well, I did, and you were there. You
did, and we streamed, and we got to play Total Nuclear Annihilation again. I love.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of people. I've had a lot of people wanting to come over, and I don't want to make 15 different appointments with people just for them to get their little TNA fix. So, just at last minute, I kind of invited a bunch of people over, and ended up being about, I think it was 18 people was the number. Ended up coming over to my house and playing TNA, and geez, I was in and out of the room all day because kids and stuff like that. So, Marty, you probably know people's reactions more than I did because you were there streaming.
Yep.
Did people like the game?
People loved it. Absolutely loved it. And, of course, it punished everyone as it does. But I think it's one of those ones where you just have to play it more and more to change the way you play, because you cannot play it like any other game. It will punish you for it. So you kind of get used to it. And I saw by about the second and the third and even the fourth game that people were playing, they were getting to not only destroy reactors, but understand how to destroy reactors, and the fact that they were willingly and knowingly destroying reactors. So it's a great game.
Yeah, it's a great game for people to watch them evolve very quickly. I mean, the first couple of people that came in, I kind of taught them all the rules straight away, and they just kind of just let me play, because there isn't that many rules. So I thought I'll just talk to them for 3 minutes and they know everything. Let them play a couple of games, and they kind of piece it together, and then literally you can explain the rules in 3 minutes, and then you're done. That's all the rules you need to know. And it was very interesting to watch people kind of struggle with the game, and then within a couple of games just kind of grow based on learning which shots were dangerous and not. And then everyone's, I guess, not an expert because people were still only blowing up one or two reactors, but they were having so much fun doing that. Jeff, you played the very first production model at Ed Robertson's house. Tell us what you think about Total Nuclear Annihilation.
I can't hype the game up any more than, it sounds weird when people are like, oh my God, this is great. And it sounds like almost you're kissing butt because you're playing the first game and you're on a stream. It was legit. And it still is to this day, playing it anywhere. And Indisc is the last time I played it, and that game beat you up.
Yeah.
I just love the shots, love the concept, love the rule set. That lock mechanism is great. I love what I was excited watching Bowen and Carl go back to back trying to get to Reactor 9. I don't know how far you've gotten on that game, Martin. I think 5 is the best I've done. I've only played it a handful of times, but I can't imagine doing 9. That's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've been up to 5, but I've not destroyed 5.
Wow.
I think I've done the same as you, Marty, or either done 5 but Scott's been I've been helping Scott bug test for the last week. So a firmware lasts one day and then the scores get wiped. So I have no idea anymore. The firmware was officially released this week, so everyone's kind of playing on the same code now, which is great. I didn't play that much on the old code, so I can't talk about all the nuances of the tiny little things that have changed, but you can add a ball now, the super jackpots. You can, your score gets a digit on the end for each reactor you blew up. The reactor now cools down, and in the initial video that Scott showed, it was counting down very fast, but he slowed that down because it was probably a bit unfair on novice players. And basically, it's more of a psychological thing. He said you can listen to an awesome interview that we did, but there's also another newer interview that Jeff from the Pinball Players podcast did, and he said it's more about a psychological thing that you don't want to kind of sit there and bore the player. So you've got this reactor cooling down the corner of your eye. So he wants you to say, shit, I need to get the ball back up there, and kind of add a bit of excitement to the game. So that's out. Spooky continue to kick ass, and more and more people are getting their games, and I think they're up to possibly around 100. Not the number 100, but some of them were out of order due to international shipments and operators. So I think in a couple of months they'll catch up and they'll be available to buy to anyone who wants them.
Awesome. Love it. before we get into my detailed review of me being on a Slam Tilt podcast, were you also on something this week in the US?
Yep. After when we were playing Guardians, I got a message from Jeff Parsons saying, because he not only does the Pinball Players podcast, but he also runs a morning radio show, The Other Jeff, Jeff Teolis and Jeff Parsons. So he said, I've got a quick segment and I want to ask you a question. Can you answer your phone in half an hour when you're at home? And I said, cool. So I went home and they literally he didn't tell me what it was. He just said, I want to ask an Australian this question. I can Google it, but I want to ask an Australian this question. So he patched me in and I was live on air to however many people listen to his radio show. And he asked me the question, Marty, and I want to ask you to see if you know the answer.
Okay.
So the question was, well, it was basically, he was in a what do they do at pubs? The questionnaire things. I'm so tired.
Trivia.
Quizzes. Yeah.
Trivia. He's running a trivia, and the question was, what country would you see a lot of wildlife that you never see anywhere else in other countries? And he said Australia, and the barman said, Australia is not a country; it's a continent. So the question, Marty, is Australia a continent?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Wait, Marty. It is?
I believe it is.
Okay. Live on air. I said no.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, no, it's like Australasia or Oceania or one of those ones. And then they all laughed and stuff. And then I Googled it and said, sorry, I'm wrong. It is a continent. So I made a fool of myself live on air. And they thought that they would be asking someone who knew stuff, but I don't know stuff. So that was me this week.
Well done.
Marty,
There's
you were
your host,
also-
folks.
Yeah.
Head Pinball.
Australia represent. Well done.
well, you were representing Australia as well, Marty, this week.
Yes. Well, yeah. So as you know, I went on the Slam Tilt podcast. So thank you, Ron and Bruce, for having me on. A week after Ryan was on, so they've now had both of us.
Cool. Who was the better? Just email in head2headpinball@gmail.com. Which one did you like the best?
You are so competitive.
They were both great. I mean, Ryan's show was the one where they ripped every show off, and I thought it was. I laughed my head off. Oh my God! And Martin, you brought some class to Head2Head Pinball, which you do every single week. You redeemed the show. I mean, let's look at what Ryan did. So I know you get the stats from your website, but you watch after Ryan appeared with Jeff Parsons in Portland, Maine. How many listeners you've just lost by? Oh my God, this idiot doesn't know where he lives. It's a continent. No idea. Brilliant.
What kind of idiot made the continent the same name as the country? Just add a little A, like Australasia or something on the end. Like, why is it Australia
Okay.
and Australia? It's so dumb.
United States. Is that a state or a country?
It's a country, United States of America.
That was way too long of a delay.
Hey, we play
Oh
pinball.
my God.
We are not smart.
Well, so how tight is that hat on your head?
I'm gonna learn the JJP Pirates rules, and that'll be my intelligence claim to fame. Okay,
Love it.
My name's Ryan C, and I know the Pirates rules. I'm super smart.
And look, the only other thing that happened for me this week was I received, well, it goes by many names. Some people call it, well, Invisiglass is what, Jersey Jack call it. I think PDI glass is probably the official technical term. But good friend of the show, Lucas, has brought his own recipe, his own specifications of invisible glass into Australia, and it's called vampire glass. And
why is it called vampire glass, Money? Why is it called vampire
because there's no
glass?
reflection. See? But
And it smells like garlic.
yeah, it does. Well,
It smells like a pinball player.
it does.
I love that you invited 18 people over, and then the first thing you did was say, I'm glad they're out of there. They stink up the place. Like, wow, a lot of friends.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
It's been pretty humid in Melbourne, so I'm guessing that's why it happens. Okay. Normally they're pretty fresh. Today, someone was dropping bombs.
Anyway, so we streamed with it tonight.
Right.
We put it on TNA, and it's fantastic for streaming. You can't actually see the reflection of the glass when you're streaming, and I put it on, dare I mention it, this week again, but my Star Trek machine, I put it on when I got home. It looks phenomenal. People, the best, it really is the best mod you should have is invisible glass or vampire glass on your pinball machines. Big difference.
Cool. I look forward to collecting my paycheck.
Awesome.
All right. Shall we wrap it up? Jeff, plug your show, please.
Well, I gotta say, thank you for having me on Head2Head Pinball. I listen to you guys, love you guys. All kidding aside, you guys are both great, even you, Ryan. And I've been on this show since we started this episode 32, longer than all of my 110 shows put together.
That's probably true.
Well,
I'm spent.
Okay, Jeff, we'll edit it down. We'll edit it down to 15 minutes for you, okay?
Well, I'm going to have both of you guys on, and I will make it longer than 15 minutes for sure. I know you're coming to North America, and we're going to try to hook up Ryan, and we'll Skype Martin and definitely have you on Pinball Profile. Martin's already been on, by the way.
Yeah.
Martin's been on.
Star of
And it was.
Can't
Did
I
you
have
like that?
Can I have solo episodes? Come on.
No. Did you? No. Did you? Maybe. We'll see. Did you like that I played the Australian national anthem before you came on?
Yes, I did. You went
Little nod.
Copyright infringement. Copyright infringement.
Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny? I know you and I have another thing in common. The most listeners come from the States. It's certainly, with the almost 400 million people, it makes sense. Second for even Pinball Profile is Australia for me. And I'm from Canada. But I have more Australian listeners than I do Canadians. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, well, we've
It's
always
not
said...
weird. Just people in Canada know you, so they don't like
Canada?
you.
Canada.
Canada.
Has he changed our country's name? Oh, or is it a continent? I'm not sure.
That everybody, that was Jeff
He is
Teolis from Canada.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning, all right? Come on. God damn.
But we've said that probably doesn't surprise us because Australians really did fall in love with pinball. Definitely 60s, 70s and 80s and into the 90s. It was a massive part of our culture. So still is today. So, I mean, we have heard that it's a big market for Stern and JJP, that their machines coming into our country. So, yeah, it probably does stand that, people from Australia are tuning in because we like all things pinball.
Not surprised. Let me tell you how much I love Australia, and I'm going there in the next year or so. I was on a European cruise in 2014 in the summer. 2,100 people on the cruise, 700 from Australia, and I still have friends from that cruise this day. A buddy of mine, Chris Darling, in the Perth area, that I went back and saw him and his wife over in England a couple of falls ago, and we still keep in touch. Australians and Canadians are very, very similar too.
Yeah.
Great sense of humor, love a little bit of booze, some saucy talk as well, and it's I really enjoy who I've met from Australia. I haven't met Ryan yet, though.
Yeah. He's all right. I've represented as well.
He's okay.
We're gonna be meeting for half a day because I still booked the wrong flights.
Did you really book the wrong flight? You were supposed to stay at my house, and I told you I'm going to Chicago that weekend. I said, come the Wednesday or the Thursday. How's Friday? I'm like, meathead, I got to get to Chicago. Like, doughhead.
Every conversation I have with you, Jeff, is either as soon as I wake up or as soon as I'm about to go to sleep. So you always catch me at my my lowest IQ, if that's possible. So
what time was it when Jeff called you? When Jeff called you in the morning? What time was that? When you thought Australia was a country?
That was
no, it was a good time. All right.
It is a country, but it's also a continent. That was the question. It's both.
Yes.
It is. Well done.
Anyway, thanks for coming on the show, Jeff. You can check out Jeff. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to say this. Jeff, you've got the beautiful dulcet tones. Please plug your show.
You can find us on iTunes. We're on Stitcher and Google Play. Don't forget Pinball Profile. There you go.
Oh, that's so horrible because it's so true.
All right.
Okay,
Hey,
yeah,
I have a request though. I want to hear you sing out a song because I don't know how much longer you'll be doing this podcast because I know the recording contract is coming. But give me something Australian, maybe another Wiggles song, Captain Feathersword or something. I gotta hear it.
What is it?
But before we do that, Jeff, how
Kylie
about you
Minogue,
tell?
give me something.
I'm spinning around. Move out of my way. I know you're feeling me because I like it like that. All right. Jeff,
Wow.
Jeff, how about you tell people out, like, do your little pinball profile schmeal in your beautiful voice, but do it for head-to-head, and then every week we'll just play that instead of, hey, you can find us on iTunes.
All right. Let me think about this here. All right. You've been listening to Head2Head Pinball. Or do you want me to do it or not?
Go.
This is big bucks.
Here we go.
Listen, my agent, if he finds out I do this for free, I'm in trouble. You've been listening to the Head2Head Pinball podcast. You can find us head2headpinball.com. We're, H2H on Twitter, something like that? H2H Pinball on Twitter. And make sure you email us, head2headpinball@gmail.com. We're desperate. We love emails. Please criticize Ryan. It only adds fuel to the fire. And you can catch us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, maybe. I don't know. Are you on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, good.
By the way, Jeff, you cannot list yourself as a podcast on Spotify. You have to be invited to be a podcaster on Spotify. So I heard you say that at the end of your show today.
Well, Mike Primo from he does all the production at Pinburg. You're going to see him, Martin, and he does a Knights of the Game Table podcast. He's doing one with Doug Polka and Elizabeth Cromwell. He said, you got to get on Spotify. I'm like, I have Spotify. Okay, I'll look into that. You have to be invited. I'll forget that. Not going to happen.
Yeah, you need like an insane listener base. They only want the best of the best. And you are up there in the pinball profile, in the pinball podcast world, but we're just little fish in a big pond. So I don't think they want people saying, hey, what the hell is this pinball stuff on my feeds?
Yeah, good point. Not going to happen.
There we go.
All right.
All right, boys.
We're done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. We will speak to you again next week. Thank you.